What's going on, guys? Welcome to another late night edition of the Bare Minimum. A little earlier than usual, though, but on a Friday instead of Thursday, guys. We do apologize for yesterday. We had some family emergency, and family always comes first before podcast, guys. But
Extra late.
yeah, we are here with you on a Friday. It's all right though, because it's the Bears bye week, so we can basically make this show whatever the hell we want. And I am with one of my favorite co-hosts to work with, Dustin Jones. How you feeling, man?
Just one of your favorite co-hosts? Am I one of your favorite people, just in general, or?
And a true friend.
Damn right.
Bust
What up,
out
man?
the tissue.
What's up, Brandon? Yeah, no, we're extra late, but better late than never. We're here to do a bye week bare minimum. I'm excited, man. We can riff and just have some fun and let the chat kind of give us some directions on where to go. I'm excited.
Real quick, guys. So it is the bye week for the Chicago Bears. It is also trade deadline still a few weeks away, but we have seen some moves already that's starting to heat up a little bit. Yeah, Mass, what's going on? We did see Amari Cooper move to the Bills, which I think is a phenomenal trade for the Bills, to be honest with you, man. And then obviously we saw Devontae Adams go back to Aaron Rodgers, which we kind of anticipated, I think, was going to be a thing.
Can we talk about how stupid of a trade that was real quick, just since you brought it up? Like, the Jets can't protect Aaron Rodgers, and they just fire their coach, and they decide the fix for their issues is to trade for a receiver in their 30s. You already got Garrett Wilson, you have Mike Williams. I mean, like, it's just it doesn't seem like it's going to fix any of their issues to me. I think it was a waste of draft capital for them. I don't get it.
Yeah, the Jets are a train wreck right now, man, and I don't know.
This is desperation.
Fixable, and to be honest with you, Dustin, me and you kind of felt this way about the Jets last year before the Rodgers injury. Like, it just doesn't add up.
I didn't like them going into that season, and then you see Rodgers go down, so you kind of figure, like maybe they just had a bad season because of that. They didn't have a quarterback, but like I still had a bad feeling. I don't know.
Yeah, just the coaching staff. Neither one of us was sold on because
no.
Robert Salah, you've got Nathaniel Hackett is just not proven to be good anywhere really.
Mass, be careful driving and messaging. We appreciate you in the chat, but rather have you stay
alive for us, Ant Mass. But no, we definitely appreciate breaking news, Bruce and Ant Mass being in the building, guys. At 9:30 on a Friday night. I'm glad this is all you have to do. But no, just
that's a good way to keep the guest in here, Brandon.
Yeah, but no, guys. Obviously, throw some comments in there. We're gonna do something fun tonight, man. So we are gonna chat the Bears a little bit.
Let's just finish your thought on the Jets. Sorry, I interrupted you. You just kind of saying.
I said what I needed to say. I felt like they're a team with probably a slightly above average roster. They just poorly coached, man.
What do you think of this trade, though? Do you think it made any sense? Because I don't see it.
I mean, I don't. Receivers definitely not what they need.
No.
To be better. I mean, Garrett Wilson's a quality receiver, and he's not getting the ball that much. So I don't know what this is going to change. I mean, they got to get their run game going, man. And I know you got Aaron Rodgers, but this is not the Aaron Rodgers that was winning MVPs, right? You've got to support him a little bit. I mean, and then, God, man, I got a text from my brother early in that game about penalties, and I didn't jump into the game. I didn't stop to look. 22 penalties. And that
football was a hard game to watch. It was a hard game, but they did get the run game established in that game, which I expected them to do. But they still should have won that game. Honestly, like if as bad as it was, they could have won that game. It just doesn't seem like they have it, and I don't see how trading for Devontae Adams changes that for this team.
What
Man.
was the return though? Because wasn't the Raiders
It's
didn't
a
get
third round pick that could turn into a second round pick. I don't know
okay.
the conditions, but yeah,
So
it's
the
a
Raiders were just dumping that money, really. Um,
yeah. They didn't want
yeah,
him in the
I
building.
thought the Amari Cooper trade was much better than the Devontae Adams trade. And it's got to hurt. I don't know. Amari Cooper came after Adams did, and it's just such a better player at a better value at a better point of his career, man. I don't think
And
it's
more
stupid.
importantly, going to a better team with a better quarterback that had a bigger need for it. You know, the Bills couldn't really get their passing game going the way that you
Yeah,
think about it
I
with the
told you
Bills.
guys before the season started,
Yeah.
I was very concerned with their pass catching core, all the way to the tight end, but it's just not good, guys. Keon Coleman's a rookie. I'm not gonna make any kind of evaluation over who he is as a player long term, but he wasn't one
He
of the
wasn't the guy
guys.
for this
He
year.
wasn't one of
No.
the guys in the draft either that you were like immediate impact. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
It was gonna
shit. I
take.
remember. I think you thought he would have an impact, but maybe that was just based on the fact that the opportunity was there. I guess,
I
but
just thought Josh Allen was going to find a way to give him the ball, but
yeah,
if he's not doing his assignment, then obviously that's going to change. But the receivers almost went beautifully, man. Like Neighbors and Harrison have had a pretty big impact. The Dunze's had slightly lower impact, and then Brian Thomas is kind of between Odunze and the guys who are falling in the top of the second, bottom of the first. These guys were drafted almost beautifully in regards to how good they're going to be. I think. Um,
I think Roma Dunze is going to get better too.
yeah, no, I think
Every year.
the three guys drafted in the top 10 were all worth top 10 picks for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. This
And I think
receiver class is
And
crazy.
I think Brian Thomas is a steal once he's a year into his career, man. If
Well,
he
that's
can,
another team, man. Like I liked Brian Thomas. I hated that pick in the draft because the Jaguars needed offensive line help. They didn't need another fucking
yep, they
receiver.
drafted one guard in the fourth round, and
Yeah,
it didn't
yeah,
help them too much.
yeah.
And they're just bad all over, man. I mean, they have a really bad secondary, which I think he's going to make some mistakes, but I think Drake May is going to torch that team because it looks like they're just giving him a green light, which is cool
And the
because they
Jaguars are
know where
plus
they
six in that game.
The Patriots know where they stand. It looks like they're going to just let Drake May air the ball out for the rest of the
Oh,
season, which
sorry,
is
I
going to be,
misspoke. The Jaguars are giving up 6 points. They're 6 point favorites in that game. The Patriots are plus six in that game.
yeah, a rookie
I like
quarterback.
that.
It doesn't surprise me. But yeah, and then you had Roy Robertson Harris go to the Seahawks. Thought that was a move they probably needed as well. That was a good trade for the Seahawks. All right, Roy Robinson Harris got Caleb Williams on the turf, guys. So I mean,
He's all right. He's
we're pretty familiar with him as a player.
yeah.
Yeah, he'll bring the best he's got, which is less than some of the better players in the league. But um, no, I thought for that being like very super early in the trade, in this kind of the couple weeks span the
The
trades
trade
are active.
deadline.
Yeah, I mean, you could call it that, but I thought a pretty active day, man.
Yeah, no, and I think more are coming, so that'll be exciting to see those news come across and see who ends up where because there are some really bad teams in the NFL that I don't see getting better, and I don't think their GM see them getting better either. So you're going to see some
No,
players
and
moving.
it's like what you think about it, man. When you're a fan of the team that's kind of starting to tank and they start to shed their best players, and you're disappointed. You hate to see these guys go, but at the same time, at least you've got good players. I mean, draft capital is the most important thing if you're a team that's going to just scrap it, man. So
Yeah,
if you
for
have
sure.
some quality players that can get you some quality draft capital in return, that's something you should be happy about. Because me and Dustin have watched the Chicago Bulls team for years, and they had all the players in the world to trade. Every team was calling the Bulls about the players they had, and
And they waited too long.
they
They
just
waited
wouldn't.
too long. Didn't get anything.
So while we're on the subject, I want to ask you this: the Bears are obviously one of the most rumored teams when it comes to the trade deadline. Do you think that the Bears? Do you think the Poles is going to play a wait and see approach? And if he does, will he make a trade if they win their next two games versus lose their next two games?
I don't think that the Bears are going to make a trade either way. Personally, I don't see them being active on the trade market. I don't. I don't know that it's worth giving up the draft capital. They're still. It's not like I don't think that they're expecting to compete for a Super Bowl with this team. I mean, it would be great. It'd be cool to see. And if they do it, I'll be surprised, but I'll be happy if it's the right player on the right deal for the right price, But I mean, I just don't know. I don't know how much sense it makes for the Bears to give up draft capital to bring somebody in here. Depending on the player, like you see the rumors about Myles Garrett or Max Crosby. I mean, obviously those guys are studs. So you would love to have a player like that on your team, and they're worth some good draft capital. But I mean, I just don't see the Bears making a move like that, man.
Well, I think you hit it on the head, man. I think it all depends on when does Ryan Poles expect this team to compete for a Super Bowl? Probably not this year, likely next year. He has 8 picks in the draft next year. So if you played the sit and wait game, you don't you don't trade any draft capital, and you use 8 picks, you probably will be competing for at least an NFC title, right? Like,
Yeah, and you're keeping your contracts, low cost and controlled for multiple years with draft picks.
yeah, your cap is still not a disaster, yeah. Because
Given how he's
that's
performing,
we're starting to watch how that destroys a team more than we ever have, man. This Deshaun Watson, this team is so deep in shit with this
yeah, man.
Deshaun Watson contract. It's
You
when you see a guy get a fully guaranteed contract, you don't really think to yourself like, if this doesn't work, they're screwed.
you
That's
even look back to big midseason or preseason trades that the Bears have made in the past themselves, like Khalil Mack. I mean, we were all super stoked to have him. He was a hell of a player, but what did it get us? We ultimately ended up in cap hell, and we lost those draft assets to get him, and we didn't
and
get anything out of it.
we ended up trading him for, or yeah, but they did trade Mac, right?
Yeah, for very little compensation. And
Yeah.
I mean, the Jay Cutler move, what did that get us? And what did we give up to get it? You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's a lot of risk with those kind of moves. And I just feel like Poles is more of a pick his spots kind of guy, like he had that opportunity to go after Judon and he was in on it. But when it wasn't what he liked at the price he liked, at the years he liked on a contract for Judon, he didn't make the move. He didn't want to bring him over here on
No,
a
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm so happy we didn't trade a third round pick
oh,
for
dude,
Judah.
and Judon ain't really doing much in
No,
Atlanta, so
he's
it's
not.
like you just take on a lot of risk with a guy you don't take on risk with is Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett's going to be really fucking good. He's under contract. His contract is a steal right now, as as far as I can tell, looking across the league. So I mean, that's somebody you could take a chance on, but you're going to be giving up multiple high picks to get a guy like that. So
Okay. So we're gonna jump into a segment here, guys. The first time we're trying this out. But since we're talking about the trade deadline, I guess that'll be the the first topic that I pitch you. So we're gonna do headlines, deadlines, or lifelines. A headline meaning if I say it, it's true enough to be printed on paper today. Deadline meaning no way in hell does it happen. Lifeline, it could change over the course of the season, barring something occurred. All right. So the first one I'll ask you, man, is the Bears make a splash trade before the deadline.
headlines, deadlines, lifelines,
Correct.
bare minimum. Let's do it.
The Bears, Chicago Bears, make a splash trade before the deadline.
So that's like no way. So that would be my lifeline in that scenario. Like
No,
that's
deadline. Deadline.
deadline.
Not a chance. Deadline is not a chance. Lifeline is right now. It is in the state that you're saying it is, but
Understood.
it's
But
so
it could be a possibility. Okay, gotcha.
okay. Next,
Deadline.
McCaffrey is done for the year, and the Niners just haven't said it.
I think that's lifeline. I think McCaffrey is he's going to Germany. That's never a good thing, but like McCaffrey's a guy who works really hard, and I could see him getting back on the field for the Niners at some point. And I mean, even if he doesn't, the Niners aren't dead because that run game is just too damn good.
No, no, you're
You
right.
see
Yeah.
Jordan Mason get plugged in there, and they can still make it work. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey brings a whole new dimension to your offense than a guy like Jordan Mason, and the Niners need him. So, me being a person who roots for the Niners, I'm hoping there's a lifeline there.
Yeah, guys, and Chris McCaffrey was reported going to Germany to meet with a surgeon.
What do you
So
think? What do you think on that?
I don't know why he's meeting with a surgeon, man. Surgery usually means end of the road, right? I mean,
End of a season, a lot of
yeah.
times, yeah.
So I don't.
It depends on the type of surgery, though, man. But you think it's a lifeline? You think it's dead? What do
I
you?
think they might be analyzing. This is the Niners window, man. Kyle Shanahan's a great coach, but at some juncture, guys, the window closes. It always does. It always does. So do they think like this is the year that they go win a Super Bowl? Then they're going to do whatever it takes to put Christian McCaffrey back on the field. But do I think somebody's probably telling him that he should do a surgery on something? Probably, man. I don't think that's what it feels like to me. Like you can play through it, but it's gonna get worse, or you can fix it and you're gonna be done. I think that's kind of the scenario Christian McCaffrey's facing.
Well,
And I think,
Pearsall's back on Sunday. He's going to
yeah,
be
I have
active.
him in
So that's cool.
fantasy. Hoping because Ayuk's been a little lackluster over there, man. I'm hoping Pearsall kind of steps right in and makes a difference. All right, here's one that I'm very interested to hear from you, Dustin. It took me a long time to think of this one because I thought about how many different things I could do with this player alone, but this is what I came to. Travis Hunter will be the first successful two-way player in the NFL.
That's a fun topic because you haven't seen it since I like what what when's the last time we saw a player play both sides of the field?
In
I don't.
probably the 70s, man. And
Yeah, man.
I don't know if any of them were considered successful players, but
Mm. Uh, I don't think. No, I think that's a deadline, man. I think they're gonna put him into a position, and that'll be that. But now, it really depends on the team he goes to and the coach he
yeah,
has,
it
and the
absolutely does.
creativity of that coach. Because then that could be a lifeline. Because if it's me, I want to get the ball in that guy's hands as much as humanly possible because he is a game breaker. No matter if he touches the ball on defense or if he touches it on offense, he can go to the house. I mean, so I like his skills. I like his physical talent. I like Travis Hunter a lot. I thought he was the best player in college football last year. I think he's been this year. And if you draft a guy like that, number one, you'd be silly not to maximize every talent he has. So,
Yeah, I
you know
guess
what?
he
Fuck it.
is.
No, I'm
He
going to say
is.
headline. I'm going to say headline, man. Make it a headline. Travis Hunter is going to play on both sides of the football when he comes into the NFL, man.
He has 49 receptions for nearly 600 yards and 6 touchdowns as a receiver, guys. That's over the course of 6 games. Or five, sorry. And he's as a DB, he has 2 interceptions, but 7 in his career and a touchdown on defense as well over 3 seasons.
Yeah, man.
This guy is the best player on both sides of that Colorado team's ball. So,
And I will say
yeah,
this too. I will say that if they do stick him on one side of the ball, it will be offense.
yeah,
You're wasting him
draft
on
producers.
defense. You're wasting him on defense if you put him. So it's like it does he go to a team where like the corners start going down and then they need to plug him in? Like
Well, and the
he's
reality
willing to
is,
do it.
if you're a hunter, when it comes to like the contracts these positions are being paid, you want to be a wide receiver
You
in
want
the
to be a
NFL.
receiver.
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
yes, sir.
no doubt about it.
Yeah,
Um, the
that's a very good point, man.
The Cincinnati Bengals season is over.
Is that a statement or okay? This is
That's my
part of the.
statement. Is
That's a
that kind of
lifeline, man. That's a lifeline for me. I think the Bengals
okay? I
are
like
going
this. We've
to
got two lifelines. We got McCaffrey now and the Bengals.
and Travis Hunter to one
Oh, you
to
said
some extent.
headline. You said
Yeah, no,
headline.
I did change it to headline because I just like how fun the idea of a player playing in
Successfully on
on
both
both
sides
sides
of
of
the
the
ball.
ball. Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. So no, yeah, Bengals are a lifeline for me, man. They really are. I they're gonna win this Sunday against against the Cleveland Browns. They're on the road in Cleveland. They just won in an ugly game against New York, but the good thing about that game was they did the one thing they haven't done all season, which is play well on defense. They played well on defense. So
And they're
if they
getting
can
Chase Brown involved, man, which I thought they needed to do like week 1.
if they can figure out how to put those two things together, their offense that can be explosive with Chase Brown and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow facilitating
Yeah,
and
and
all that.
Eric All and Gesicki can provide some production too, man, for sure.
Yeah, man. So like if they can figure out how to play defense along with that, then they certainly have a chance at the playoffs in what I look at as a weak AFC this year, man.
Yeah, and
Just a weak AFC.
Joe
Let's
Burrow
just
did
for
throw 5
perspective.
touchdowns in a game too, guys.
And for perspective, man, they're 12th in the AFC right now. They're 12th in the AFC at 2-4. So if they win this week, they could be somewhere between 9 and 11 potentially, and they're right on the outside of that playoff picture. And I see them getting back into it. They're not going to win this division, I don't think, the way it's looking, but they could be a wild card team, and I'm holding on to hope for that because I did pick them to go to the fucking Super Bowl this year.
I think a lot of people, barring the health of Joe Burrow, pick them to have a great season for sure. That's why they're the one team projection that I've really put on this. Um, Next one is this is probably going to stir the pot if we have any viewers. Malik Neighbors is better and will have a better career than Marvin Harrison Jr.
Headline easy for me. That's easy. You knew
I
that
think
was going to be
so.
it.
I think so too.
I like Neighbors better than Harrison going into the draft. I just, in college, just everything. Like he's just to me a better player, a more explosive player, a guy who it's easier to get the ball into his hands in advantageous situations, and a guy who tilts the field to one side. Man, like I don't think it's a conversation when he's on the field.
Maybe after the injury
You can't
now, but
stop
he
him.
was prior to the injury, he was the most targeted receiver in the NFL as a rookie.
He was so
Of all
far
of the NFL.
up on that list that I think he's still second after missing the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
we heard generational when we talked about Marvin Harrison. I was with you, Dustin. You know that before the draft. I thought
Yep.
Neighbors was better. I thought Neighbors' athletic ability was just like you can be a really good receiver. You can run your routes well and be in the right place and be reliable, but being a good receiver on top of the athletic ability that Malik Neighbors has put him in a tier away from anybody else in that draft, I thought for sure,
And
man.
and the type of athlete that he is, man, that people didn't really consider that as much as they should have, I don't think, in that conversation, because Marvin Harrison Jr. is not going to be catching a screen pass behind the line of
No,
scrimmage and then taking it
no.
for 20 yards down the field like Malik Neighbors. He's not the end arounds and stuff like that. Like the different things you can do. Everybody knows the Giants are going to throw to Neighbors because they got no one else, and he still gets the ball. And Daniel Jones is throwing him the ball. It's not even a comparison to me. Kyler Murray is worlds better, and Kyler Murray's having an up and down season for sure, but he's a more talented quarterback. I don't think anybody's going to argue that. He's a more talented quarterback than Daniel Jones, and Malik
No,
Neighbors is still getting the ball a hell of a lot more.
and Marvin Harrison seems to be struggling with the transition from college to NFL more than Neighbors because
It's because of what I just said.
That's your point. Is
Yeah,
he's just the kind of you can do
get him the
anything
ball
with
anywhere.
Neighbors,
Yeah,
and he can play anywhere as well. You obviously want to use Marvin Harrison as your outside guy, 6'4". So I agree with you there. I think that's a headline as well, man.
yeah.
Okay,
Start giving your answers on these too.
this
Start giving your answers on these
well,
too.
I think okay. So the next one is I do think McCaffrey's done for the year. I think Travis Hunter will be a two-way player in the NFL.
Hey,
I'm with you, Bengals. I want to throw him a lifeline. I'm not going to quit on him yet, because, like you said, man,
hey.
that AFC race is pretty tight. And I think Blake Neighbors is better than Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he was before he was drafted. He is today, and he will be for the future. My next one is regarding a team we talked about when we said they drafted for a receiver, and that's not their problem. Aaron Rodgers is the Jets' problem. That's the
Uh,
headline. That's the title.
That's an interesting one because he's not their problem on the field, but he might be their problem off the field, like in terms of but I
How
mean
much he delegates, yeah.
like if Mike Williams falls down on that throw at the end of that game against Buffalo and Aaron Rodgers stink eye, you could smell it in in New York from New Jersey, man, because like he was pissed off. And like and that's always been Aaron Rodgers, man, and it's always worked for him, and he's not going to change. So the Jets are going to have to work around him and work with him, and that's his team. It's I heard Bill Simmons say this, and I thought it was an awesome comment because like he's kind of rolling into like the LeBron James level of like, this is my fucking team, and if you mess up, get on out of here, and give me my players and I want my
Unless you're
guys.
his son, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they're at his will right now as long as they have him, and that's why they have Devontae Adams on their team. And so in that respect, it's deadline like that. Or no, you said is their problem.
Yeah, Aaron
Yeah, so
Rodgers,
that's in that respect, it's a headline. In the respect of like,
his
because they have
play.
Devontae Adams because of Aaron Rodgers wanting that, and he's now the GM for the Jets, basically, and that's never a good thing in my mind because you can't have that. What up, Dennis Moody? How you doing?
What's
But
going on, man?
in terms of on the field, that's deadline, man. He's the only thing that's going to keep them in these games right now besides their defense. Offensively, they're counting on him big time, and he's actually looked really good, dude. He made a pass in that game against the Bills that was maybe the best pass I've ever seen, dude, to Alan Lazard. Did you see that? Oh
No,
my
I
God.
didn't watch any of that game.
Dude, just look for the clip of it because he fit that ball in so tight, right? Allen, like just like it snuck by the defender's hip and right into Alan Lazard's hands. It was crazy. So he still got zip on the ball and that control of the
Oh,
ball.
he's had
So
some. He looks
he's
like
a
Aaron
hell of a player
Rodgers of
still.
old every once in a while, man, for sure. Oh, okay. So the headline you say, but depending on what
How
kind
you
of
look at it?
problem, what kind of
Yeah,
problem he is. Okay.
on the field they need him. Off the field, I think he probably is their problem, and
Yeah,
it's the problem they created.
I think headline. I think Aaron Rodgers is the problem. Whoever adopts him in his latter years. The Vikings are the worst team. Headline, deadline, or lifeline. The Vikings are the worst team in the NFC North.
Interesting. Oh wow. They're undefeated. They're atop the division.
No, I
They
know.
haven't lost a
That's why
game.
I threw this in here because I was like, man, this will stump you for sure because you still something in the back of your head still projects them to be the worst team in this division, man.
Yeah, and I still
And
think
that something is Sam Darnold. Let's be honest. Like
I
that's
still
everything.
think that that's going. I still think that that's going to happen, and I'm probably wrong. I can admit that, but I think the Vikings come back down to earth this Sunday. That's for sure. I think they're going to get their asses kicked against that Detroit Lions team. And yeah, no, they're going to get their first loss this Sunday, and yeah, I'll call that a headline, man. But that's hard. I'm gonna regret saying that because like if you go 5-0, it's really hard to fall to last place in your division. I don't know that that's ever
Not in
happened.
this division though. Everybody's right behind him, man.
Yeah, so like that's the one thing, but here's what I'm thinking when I'm saying this is like if I don't say headline, then I'm saying the Bears are most likely coming in last in this NFC North. In my mind, that's kind of how I'm looking at it because the Packers and the Lions, I still think are really good teams. They're really, really good teams that are gonna be in the thick of it come the playoffs. And I want the Bears in the playoffs, so I don't see the Vikings holding on to it. I think they end up losing a lot of games down the
Yeah,
stretch.
and they also the guys the like we looked at the Bears schedule and we saw how late they play with their interdivisional games. This is the entire NFC North. Every team in this division doesn't play their divisional games till the end of the season. The Packers and Vikings is the only game that's occurred within this division so far this year. Obviously, we know the Vikings won that game, but
And we got
all
a
of these
divisional game
teams
this Sunday. Yeah.
all of these teams finished this year with their divisional games, obviously,
Yeah,
because
but if the
the
Vikings
Bears
win on I
play
don't
most
expect
of
the
them.
Vikings. Sorry, Brandon. I don't
No,
expect the
go ahead.
Vikings. I don't expect the Vikings to win on Sunday. But if they do, and then they're now 2-0 in the NFC North and 6-0 on the season, there's no way they miss the
Where
playoffs.
is that game's in Detroit, right?
You double check that. Detroit is only a. No, I think it's in Minnesota. But let me because
As
Detroit's only
Me
a.
and Dustin are on record saying this. Detroit is the worst matchup for this Minnesota team.
Detroit is the fucking best team in the NFC, man, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and they're just this Vikings team is built on pressuring the
Yeah, it's
quarterback.
at Minnesota. It's at Minnesota. Sorry for the delay on that.
The Minnesota home crowd doesn't sway me one way or another, but um, yeah, I think this Detroit team's a bad matchup for this Vikings team. Just the way they're kind of built, what they rely on. This Minnesota team needs to pressure the quarterback. I mean, Brian Flores has always kind of relied on pressuring the quarterback, right? That's how his defense works. This is a really tough team to do that against for sure. This
They have
Lions
a
team.
great offensive line. Now, is that a
And
headline or a
a
deadline to
guy
you?
who gets rid of the ball quicker than
Fast.
most,
Yeah.
even now, right now.
Is that a headline or a deadline to you?
I think the Vikings are the worst team in the division.
Okay. We've
I think
we're
you're right.
agreeing on everything.
I not only do I think they lose badly to Detroit, I think that does something to them.
It sets them in motion for what we're
It
talking
opens
about.
and it kind of like I think the idea that they're not as good a team as they want to be.
Starts to creep
It's
into their head.
right.
Yeah.
I think that's something that occurs on this. And I do love O'Connell as a coach. I'm not saying he loses his locker room. I think the players themselves kind of realize there's better teams in the NFL for sure. All right. So we call that a headline. The situational pick acquired for Justin Fields
The
is
conditional
officially a
pick.
6th round, or sorry, the conditional pick acquired for Fields is officially a 6th round pick.
Russell Wilson's gonna start for them this Sunday, right? Against the Jets. I mean, it really depends on how Russell Wilson plays. Russell Wilson hasn't played. Nobody knows what he's going to bring to this team. Is he going to change the dynamics of that offense and actually make it a threatening offense?
Yeah, is he going to make Freiermuth and Pickens quality players in the NFL?
Yeah, and in turn make this offense a legit NFL offense. Because right now, I mean, you know what it is with Justin Fields. Like you can't have the offense that you need to win games with that guy as your quarterback. So, you know, I think that's probably a deadline. I think Fields ends up back on the field. He only needs to play 50% of the snaps for that to turn into a 4th-round pick, correct?
51, yeah.
51%. He's already played 6 games.
He's already played about 30% of the season.
Yeah, he's already played 6 games. He only needs to play 3 more games. Russell Wilson has a high propensity to get hurt. He's an older guy. The Steelers' offensive line is doing solid, but they struggle in pass protection. So, and Russell Wilson just naturally wants to extend plays. He doesn't work well in the pocket, so he's going to get hit. So Fields is going to end up back on the field, man. And I think that pick does turn into that 4th-round pick for the Bears.
Yes, you got a deadline.
I got a deadline on that one. Where are you at with that?
Man, I'm going to say headline. I'm going to say.
You think Wilson?
I'm going to say that not only does Russell Wilson step into this offense and make it a little more modern, but I think Pickens finally starts to be a guy I think Pickens should be, man.
Like and that's important really to the Steelers.
Quality receiver. Yeah,
that's important to the Steelers. They drafted him high,
and I do think it's. And I'm gonna. This is real deep, guys, but this is like so far from being relevant. But I do believe Roman Wilson makes an impact on this team still. I still believe this, man. They're hurting for playmakers. I still think this guy. Yeah, I still think this guy makes an impact. I think Freiermuth is a quality tight end, somewhere in the middle of the pack, and I think a good quarterback can utilize him as well, man.
Dude, no, let's talk about this a little more because, like, when they made that signing of Russell Wilson, I thought that was a huge signing.
I thought Russell Wilson, Mike Tomlin, I love it.
Yeah, man.
That's what I thought.
But then you roll into the season and Wilson doesn't play,
what's up, VV Jiggy? What else they're saying?
What up,
because people keep saying Justin Fields got benched, and I keep telling people what I'm reading from the Steelers is he didn't. Russell Wilson was actually injured this entire time
hurt.
And is actually healthy now, and that's the only reason this move occurred.
But my point was, I was really a big fan of that signing. I thought it was a very sneaky signing for a very good team, and he just kind of became back out of sight, out of mind. he wasn't playing, so you just kind of stopped thinking about it. But if he gets back on the field and he plays to the level he did last year in Denver, this team will be better than they were with Justin Fields on the
Yeah,
field, man. That's
yeah.
just
Let's
the
talk about
reality.
that. But I think so before he was benched, I think he had like 25 touchdowns and 8 picks or something like that. Like having a quality season, man. And 25 touchdowns, like in this league, it's this league, guys. A lot of quarterbacks can do that, but to limit yourself to less than 10 interceptions over the course of the time that he played is
Ant
pretty.
Mass wonders if we think Wilson is being showcased to be traded. I don't know because I don't know who the options are to be traded to. He was out there to be signed by
Well, and
every team.
I
That
don't
doesn't.
think,
I don't. That doesn't resonate.
I don't think you, Aunt Mas, benching a quarterback's a big deal. Like what you're saying to Justin Fields is a pretty stern message. I don't think you do that while still thinking like Justin Fields is the solution, like he is our
Yeah.
quarterback. I don't think you do that to a player. I don't know that I could say I know
You're
that's not a
telling
thing.
that player we think that this other player gives us a better chance to win football games. That's
Yeah,
what you're telling them.
it's not a good message to send to the guy that you're in the back of your mind is
On
is the answer at quarterback.
on top of the fact that you have to pay Justin Fields. So
And I and I
why would
and
you
I
not
almost
want to
think
see what he has?
and I almost think Russell Wilson is worth more in a trade without playing football. But I don't know. I could be wrong about that.
MS says Miami, maybe. I think Tua. I mean, unless Tua is just done for his career. I mean, they were talking about him coming back week 8, week 9, I believe. So
Yes, McDaniel said he does not believe his season's over. So
yeah. So I don't know that Miami might just be chalking this season up and hoping they get him back to have some good vibes going into the next season. But no, I don't think that they're showcasing Russell Wilson to be traded. I don't think that there's a market for Russell Wilson to be traded. And I think that if any team wanted him, they could have had him, and he hasn't done
yeah,
anything to change that
think
since
about the teams.
he was signed.
There's so many right now in the NFL. There's so many teams with young quarterbacks, like the Will Levis, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Drake May. There's other players from last year outside those three, man.
Anthony Richardson, did you
Yeah,
mention?
yeah, Anthony Richardson. So these teams are not going to be looking for quarterbacks. I think it's like 10 teams in the NFL have quarterbacks they're still trying to figure out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I don't see the market for it. I don't think that that's what they're doing. I think that they legitimately think that they have a better chance of competing with Russell Wilson. And that's crazy. Let's just acknowledge how crazy this is to make this move when your team is 4-2. Pittsburgh Steelers are not making this decision because they don't want to give up a 4th-round draft pick to the Chicago Bears versus a 6th-round pick. That's not why they're making this decision. Your team is 4-2, and you think that the guy who is sitting behind the quarterback that's led you to that 4-2 record is a better quarterback than him, and your team will be better with him on the field. Just take
And you know
that in.
what, guys? Any other football team that makes a decision at quarterback while they're 4-2 would like make me think this is fucking stupid. But Mike Tomlin's gonna make this work, man. I don't know how or
Yeah.
why, but he's going to. Mike Tomlin, you're gonna there people are gonna be like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And then the Steelers are gonna come out and score like 28 points on offense next week, and everybody's gonna be like, well, we're stupid, because that's
Well,
what Mike
let's just
Tomlin
put
does.
this caveat out there because
Yeah.
Arthur Smith is their offensive coordinator, who was the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons last year, who thought that Desmond Ritter was a good NFL
And
quarterback
he
to
thought that
start for a team.
and he
Yeah.
thought that Tyler Algier was better than Bijan Robinson.
That's
But
another story for
I
another day. But quarterback wise, Arthur Smith cannot be trusted.
we got another thanks, Turd Ferguson, for joining us tonight, man. For sure. Wilson's problem will be winning the locker room. I don't know. He's very cringy when you watch him in like anything ever, but I don't think teammates dislike Russell Wilson. I think that's blown out of because I think that was being said in Seattle too. I think teammates think he's a strange guy, like the Kirk Cousins thing. Like Kirk Cousins is always preaching God to everybody when he's in the locker room, but I don't think they dislike him. I mean, I think he's a hard guy to to understand, but I don't think he's disliked. I
We'll
would
see.
imagine, to be honest, man. I think Russell Wilson has more of a leadership quality than Justin Fields does.
Oh, by far, it's not really close. I see Justin Fields getting back on the field, man, at some point, just even if it's just due to injury. So I'm gonna
Well,
have to go with
Justin.
that.
I mean, we read some things about his ability to take coaching from other players, but as far as I understand, he's a likable guy. But like Mike Tomlin probably likes Justin Fields. He probably thinks he's a good kid. So obviously, if I had to say this, man, next, no matter who finishes this year for the Steelers, next season, Justin Fields is the Steelers quarterback.
Well, I
I
brought
firmly,
that up earlier, and we didn't really touch on that, man. I said it earlier. I don't understand why you would take the guy who if you're entertaining the idea of even re-signing this guy. I don't know why you would take him out of your starting lineup.
unless you think, and this is a lot of deep thinking, unless you think Russell Wilson can take you to the playoffs and make you a better offense this year, but you can also get Justin at a cheaper
On a
price
cheap deal.
if
Yeah,
he's
I've mentioned that
benched.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah. Dennis Moody thinks they're entering the toughest part of their schedule. Russell is a better proven quarterback, maybe not as athletic, but he thinks
that's
that that's their
definitely
line.
not as athletic.
Vinny thinks the Steelers win those 2 games with Wilson. Fields can't really throw. No.
No, Vinny, and this is, guys, I don't dislike the kid. I root for him. I don't think Justin Fields is the answer for any franchise at quarterback. I really don't believe that. If he was, I would be upset about the fact that the Bears traded him, and I'm not.
That's a good way to close out this
I'm
topic.
not. So you think that there will be a fourth rounder? I think that it will be a sixth rounder. My last one, man.
Oh, it's the last one?
I mean, I could keep throwing them at you all day,
Maybe
but
I have one for you. I have one for you after this, but go ahead.
Jamar Chase will not be on the Cincinnati Bengals next season.
I think that's deadline, bro. I don't really have to think about
I
that.
agree. I think it's a
Yeah.
deadline. I want to throw it in there though because still got issues, man.
He don't have issues performing on the field. He's gonna get paid.
No,
The thing is it comes down to what he wants to get paid. And when you talk about what he was offered and turned down from what was reported, I mean, it was right on par with Justin Jefferson. So I don't know how much more he expects to get, but I think eventually they come to a deal there. I don't think he wants to stop. Think of how perfect that scenario was for him to be drafted to a team that had his quarterback who he broke records with in college.
And look at the effect we saw of that. I mean, clearly those two
Immediate
players. It
success.
didn't take a week for that to work out, man. So
Yeah, and it's still working very well now. So, I don't think he wants to go to another situation. I wouldn't if I was him. You're going to get paid. It's not like you're going to go somewhere else and get paid more. Unless the Cincinnati Bengals are just completely lowballing them, in which case, yeah, man, go get your money. Get the fuck out of there.
go to the Steelers.
But the market is the market, man.
It would be awesome to see him on the Steelers, man.
For sure. But the market is the market, and he's going to get paid about the same by any team. So why would you want to change your situation when it's so good for you? Besides the fact, like, you want to win, but this team's gone to the deep playoff runs, been to the Super Bowl. Like, he's in a good spot. He should make this work, I think. So that's a deadline to me.
All right, what was yours for me?
Okay, so it's headline, deadline, or lifeline. Doug Peterson will not be flying back on the same plane as his team after this Sunday.
Headline.
I
think Doug Peterson would have very much been fired.
If they were coming back home after that Bears game, that shit was done.
The minute that plane landed,
yeah,
before it even took off. Hey, Doug.
He's going to be the coach.
Find a ride home. Yeah.
He's going to be the coach on the way back.
Okay. Well, so actually, I have another headline or deadline for you then. Last year, I believe 8 head coaches were fired in the NFL. This year, there will be more head coaches fired in the NFL than last season.
I mean, we already got one who should have been fired last year.
Yeah, that counts. That counts. I'm talking about in-season firings as well.
Dude, I was on this before when we did our projections. The Raiders suck.
Oh,
Pierce
he's gone.
Pierce
is gone.
I don't know. I don't know that he's going to make it through the season, though.
No, I don't think so either.
Fire him in the middle of the season. It's happening soon, I think.
Pierce is gone. I think Dable is gone. I think McCarthy is gone. I think for sure the one guy that I mean, if this guy lasts another year in New Orleans, man, I don't
Dennis
know
Allen.
what the hell were they thinking? Put Kubiak's on that staff now.
Yeah, I mean,
Ju-
they have a
Just
lot of injuries.
make they do. And I've said
He'll have
this
the
in that
injury
text.
excuse.
I said this in a text with Sean, guys, one of our 4 stars here. I sent a text today. They have met the most misfortune when it comes to injuries. He said he does. Everybody faces injury, and I said, but
Dude, they have no offensive
a
line.
quarterback is a different thing too, man.
It's not
You
just the
lose them.
quarterback. It's their starting center. It's both of their starting guards.
Yes, Olave is out. Taysom
Olave, yeah,
Hill,
yeah,
who plays a very
big
specific
role.
role on that team.
And
Yes,
it's a big one for that team
yeah.
too. So
So,
yeah, no, like they're off. Their injuries are just
but
off the
I don't
wall.
believe if they fire Dennis Allen, they get worse. I really can't. I can't bring myself to say that they'd be a worse team if they fired their head coach. I think
Yeah,
they'd
no,
be better off.
he'll probably be gone. You start out 2-0, and then you lose 5 in a row, man. Like that shows something. And again, the only thing that can save him is that the injuries, and he can blame it on that. So I don't root for
My
nobody to be
last
fired, but
my last coaching termination, man. And there's probably some more that'll pop. Like kind of like what is it? Zach Taylor is it the Bengals?
yeah,
He's if they don't make the playoffs, he's gone for sure. But
yeah, that's
Sirianni, man. If this Eagles team doesn't
he's insane
improve, this guy is making headlines for himself. And I'm going to tell you
in
this,
all the
everybody who's
wrong
watching
ways.
this, it is not a good thing.
No,
It's not a good thing.
no,
You do,
why are
you do
you're
not want to be what's talked about when your team's not looking the best, man.
if you're an NFL head coach, why are you entertaining your own and going back and forth with your own fans
After a win.
after a win? It's just fucking weird, dude. He's a weirdo. I don't know. The only thing that I will say is that I think that Eagles team has too much talent to not win. They're going to win that division as far as I'm concerned. I don't think that the Commanders hold on to win that division. I think the Eagles take it. So that'll save his job. I mean, unless they just go out and they flame out in like epic fashion in the playoffs, honestly, like they did last year.
So if the last 2 guys I mentioned, as well as Dable, Pierce, Peterson, Allen,
You got a
McCarthy,
list of fired coaches there?
I got a list of coaches that I project. Well,
Yeah,
I don't have a
yeah.
list. I texted a friend of mine saying, I
Okay.
think all of these coaches are fired by the end of the year. That would make 8. That would make this the same amount as last season. So you're
And then
saying
it's like
deadline?
uh, to 8 coaches fired? No, that'll happen, I think. That'll happen. I mean, you just kind of ran it out there. I mean, so does Sirianni make the 8?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, never mind. Yeah, it's a deadline, but it's close. It's close.
Who did I say
And it could
before
go over.
Sirianni? Because he wasn't on my list. It was somebody that just popped in my head.
Uh,
Somebody who's for sure gone. Somebody who sucks. Man. I don't.
yeah, no, I'm blanking on it. We
It
literally just
was
talked
it
about it.
was another team if they missed Zach Taylor for sure.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
the
the
Bengals
Bengals.
don't
Yeah.
make the playoffs, that guy's fired. There's no doubt
No, yeah,
about it.
that's you're very right about that. You just start to wonder if there's enough. You look at and this will be a good segue into our what I want to talk about next. You look at like the coaches in the NFL, and if you see that many coaches go away that quickly, back to back years, are we running out of like good coaches in the NFL to replace them with? Like even competent ones? Like there's
Hey guys, I see we got 10 people. Sorry, Dustin. I see we got 10 people watching, guys. Please, please, please. This is a bye week. We want to have fun with this show. Throw some stuff in the chat, guys. We're doing
you got anything?
headlines,
Yeah.
deadlines, or lifelines. Is it something we could print today? Is it complete and utter bullshit, or is it something that can change over the course of the season? We're
Or
kind of
anything
like a
else you want
little
to talk
bit.
about,
Yeah,
questions you have,
yeah,
whatever, man. Keep
yeah.
it,
Throw it at us, guys. Let's
yeah.
talk about food. Let's talk about
Do
movies. We don't care, man. We'll do it all.
do our
Whatever.
job for us tonight,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, guys. We're not paying you for nothing.
And also hit the like button if you haven't already, guys. We appreciate you very much. Thank you. 4-star Chicago sports, guys. Yeah, man. Will there be enough good coaches just to like fill those vacancies? Because you just said we just filled 8 of them. And if we're gonna fill another 8, like are there enough good coaches in the NFL to even like fill 32 jobs?
Well, I
Is
think
my
we could.
question.
I think we could, because I'm glad you asked that question, man. I actually think this is like a really good list of plausible head coaches for next year because you have Belichick and Vrabel who didn't get coaches because they didn't get jobs because they were fired so late. And I
Yeah.
personally believe Belichick probably had no problem with taking a season away from football, man. But
I mean, he's on every podcast that is out there right now. Bill
so
Belichick is very
he's
accessible right
still, yeah,
now.
you could plug him in today on any one of these teams. He's ready to roll, man. But
Uh,
so I think Belichick and Vrabel are. I think Ben Johnson does leave. You don't turn down head coaching jobs 2 years in a row, man. That's not
what
right.
up, Dibs?
Like Ben Johnson for sure is a coach next year.
Gruden
I,
and Belichick got to make a comeback, Vinny says.
I
That
think
was-
Clint Kubiak is offered the Saints job next season.
So Kubiak is a legitimate candidate. You said Ben
Ben
Johnson.
Johnson, I think Vrabel and Belichick for
Yeah.
sure.
You
I
got
like
Slowick
Liam Cohen, the
for
guy
the
who
Buccaneers.
the Buccaneers offensive coordinator. I believe he's probably the best head coaching candidate right now. I truthfully believe that, man. I think that guy is going to make a team really, really good. But then Bobby Slowick down in
From the
Houston.
Texans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you probably got a head coach in there. So, and then, man, if this Commanders team continues to do it, I know Kingsbury's been given a shot before and failed, but I think he could be offered a job if Jaden Daniels finishes the season with an 80% completion rate, man, and like however 20 whatever touchdowns he's on pace for. And I mean collective touchdowns because he's not passing a whole lot of touchdowns, but I
I
mean,
just think
what about this, man? So, okay, headline, deadline, or lifeline. Caleb Williams continues his growth throughout the course of the year, and plays and wins against quality teams like the Vikings, the Lions, the Packers. Shane Waldron is a head coach of another team next year.
he'll certainly be a candidate. That's an easy headline. Whether or not he makes to the final cut. I mean, if you talk about that many jobs opening up, then yeah,
Do you
that's
do you think he'd be one of those guys like Ben Johnson, who's like, I think we can do it here before I do that? You know what I mean?
that's kind of what I was gonna say, man. Like these offensive coordinators, especially with Kingsbury, he's gonna need another year. I don't think he's getting a job after this year that quickly. I would hope NFL teams are kind of smarter than that at this point. You saw Josh McDaniels go through that enough to where like
Yeah, yeah.
some guys are just offensive coordinators. I think Cliff Kingsbury is just an offensive coordinator. Shane Waldron, I don't know, but like he'll get the shot for sure if they keep playing like this. I like this question from Dibs, and we just asked them to engage us. So I want to get this question
Hell
out there.
yeah. Bring it
Do
on,
y'all
Dibs.
think? Do y'all think Flus keeps his job if we don't make the playoffs? So Bears don't
No.
make the playoffs. Flus is fired. Headline, deadline, or lifeline.
Headline.
So yeah,
Headline.
no, yeah.
And I'm saying that with a lot of emphasis after a 4-2 start. I mean, I know this schedule gets much tougher later in the year, but I think Poles' expectation of Flus is by the time that stretch of schedule comes around, I've given you 3 years to get this team where I want it to be, and I've thrown you all the talent I can. So I think that, well, he was asked, man. Ryan Poles was asked, "What's your expectation of this season, different from other seasons?" And he said, "Win. I expect to win." So I think playoffs was Ryan Poles. I think we talked about this during the trade deadline thing, right? I think playoff was Poles' expectation. I don't think a Super Bowl year, like I don't think if Flus went to the playoffs and didn't win a Super, like, but Dibs, I think if Matty, that is, I think literally that's the determining factor. I believe that. I'll even say this. I think if he goes with like a shit record, like 9-8, but makes the playoffs, Dibs, I think he keeps his job. I think if he does like a 9-8 and misses the playoffs, he's gone. He's gone. I think that is the expectation, the standard playoffs.
I tend to agree with you, Brandon. And we said that at the beginning of the season. There's no reason to come off of that now. Like it's playoffs or bust for this team. And yeah, if Flus doesn't get this team to the playoffs, I think he might be looking for a job. Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I think we're on the same page there. And then yeah, we did talk about it. Like I don't think that his expectations, Ryan Poles. Speaking of Ryan Poles, I don't think his expectations were Super Bowl. So I don't know that he's so inclined to make a trade at the deadline because he's still got a young team here that he's put together. And I don't know how much draft capital he wants to give up to add to that right now, especially given that they're winning. I mean, if they win, like you asked that question, Brandon, to start the show, if they
Yeah,
win these next,
are they more inclined to trade if they win?
I think they're less inclined. I think they're
Well,
less
that's
inclined.
yeah, because so Dustin, the reason I asked that question is because I said on the CSP show I did Tuesday, I said I think if they win, he won't make a trade. And Michael texted me. I think if polls after the deadline, if they win a couple of games, he'll make a trade thinking like this is the year. Like this, it's Super Bowl
Yeah, I
now.
don't think so.
But I don't think I think Poles is I think the beautiful thing about Ryan Poles, man, is
He's level-headed as fuck.
and
Yeah.
he sets a goal or an expectation, we could say, and he remains there.
He
And
doesn't overreact or underreact.
I
Yeah.
think personally 4-2 right now is exactly where Poles expected to be. I really
Yeah.
do. I do believe that. I think
So
that he
yeah,
thought.
no. So Soda P, thank you for joining us, man. Hit that like. Let somebody who you know if you like this show to come
So
check us out.
Soto P, I do want to say this, man. The one thing that I don't hear a lot of people talking about is the Bears making a trade. If there are teams, Buck actually mentioned this, Dustin, on the Tuesday show, and I thought it was a really good mention. He said the Indianapolis Colts just lost their right guard, not Quentin Nelson. I left their right guard for the year. And
Fries.
could the Bears move Nate Davis? Is there a team that believes this guy
If
is just in
Ryan
the wrong
Poles
setting?
can get anything for fucking Nate
No, and
Davis,
that's what I mean, guys. And
I will kiss his ass
I'm not talking about
personally
a third
myself.
round return. I mean,
Anything.
if he gets a sixth
Anything.
rounder and gets this contract out of here and gets a guy who I very much believe lost the first two games of this season, man. I that's a strong. This guy's effect over this team was so much more than people thought.
Let's not get bogged down in that. He's
Dude,
not
it
playing this.
was.
No, I
It
agree.
was.
I agree, but
It
we
was.
talked that shit to death,
Yeah.
man. Like
And Dustin, you said it in the text, and I've repeated it. He played his last snap for the Chicago Bears, guys. Ryan Bates is back this week, I believe. He was limited practice. Yeah, he's back, I believe, this week. Or no, they're off. So
yeah,
he's
hopefully he's back
projected.
by next week. He was on the 4-week
Yeah,
designated
he's
to
projected to
return.
come back.
You know,
Ryan Bates back. Karan being healthier and practicing more.
Caddyshack. We got Caddyshack.
Bill
I mean,
Murray.
yeah.
Bill Murray played a phenomenal 3 quarters of a game. I don't think Nate Davis ever touches the field again for this football team, man.
Like I was saying, if Ryan Poles he's a magician. If he can get anything at all, if he can get a
Seventh
soda
round.
pop,
If he,
soda P, if he can get a soda pop for Nate Davis, I will take it, and I will be very happy with
he can, if he can get an eighth rounder, he better pull the
Let's
trigger.
do it. Let's do it. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, but no, I don't think that the Bears are bringing in some massive talent this year. I don't. To answer your question, Soda P, I don't think that that's going to happen. We talked about that a little
Oh,
earlier, but
okay, yeah,
we appreciate you asking.
we got these chats flying. So
I know it's. I'm on top of it. We're good. It's good. And then just Vinny says it's going to be hard to make the playoffs in the hardest division in the NFL. That's a very solid point. But here we got Dibs. What do you guys think about dealing Herbert? Way too much potential to let him sit into a contract year. I like that.
Dibs,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think Bears fans are the only people who have adapted this mentality about Khalil Herbert. I think
Interesting.
Bears fans think Khalil Herbert is worth more than Khalil Herbert is worth. I
Sixth
think
round pick, man. Sixth
I
round pick.
think
I take it.
I think that polls would have moved Herbert the entire offseason and since week one. I still believe that. I don't think anyone's inquired about Khalil Herbert.
I think if the Cowboys have not inquired about Herbert, then they are just even a worse
They
franchise
don't
than
do
I
that.
thought.
They don't make their team better. That's not what the Cowboys do. They
But
don't do
Khalil
that, man.
Herbert is not going to cost them anything in terms of draft capital or the contract that they're taking on, man. I just don't. It doesn't make that the Cowboys cannot run the football. They don't have a running back.
Justin, you're talking about probably the most stubborn organization in the world. They don't change things that don't
Well,
work. They
they weren't
never do.
stubborn when it came time to line
It
Dak
didn't
Prescott's
work
pocket.
last year. Howard was terrible. Dowdle was terrible. These players were terrible last year, and all they did is bring back the guy they released to let these guys play. So like,
Saying it was
they,
going to be
this
better.
this is
Yeah,
not an
yeah.
organization that's going to start changing things now. They're not going to trade for Khalil Herbert. They're probably going to bring Dalvin Cook up from their practice squad and let that fail all over again. And that's just how this team's going to roll, man. I don't see Dallas. This trade deadline is coming up, and it's funny you mention that because I've thought about this. Like, if there's a team that requires a trade, this they need some sort of talent on this fucking football team, man. And I don't think they're gonna do it.
There's any team that needs it, it's the Cowboys. And Khalil Herbert is a much better running back than anything
Yeah,
they
and
have on their
you know what
roster.
they should do, man.
So
You know what they
I'm
should. You know
all
what they
for a
should really
Khalil
do.
Herbert trade, just to
You
answer your
know, you
question,
know what
Derek.
I would do before I called the Bears for
Because
Khalil
we're not
Herbert.
using them.
I would call. You got Chubb coming back. They have Deonta Foreman. I would call and see if Jerome Ford on this team is purging themselves, man. Call the Browns and say, can we get Jerome Ford for a fifth round pick over here? Like, you've got Nick Chubb, you've got Deontay Foreman. Your team sucks. It's over for you. You need picks because your money's tied up for the rest of your existence. So
Yeah, I mean,
I
and
don't.
Dib says it here.
I just
Even
don't. Khalil Herbert is so far down on a list of teams that are acquiring about running backs. I believe that.
I,
I like.
I don't think that there's a
You,
lot on the
do you
market, man.
think do you
There's
think
not a
it's
lot
doing
on the
Khalil?
market.
Do you think it's doing Khalil Herbert a favor as in trade value by never letting him play?
Well, I mean, when he has played, he's looked decent enough. I'm not asking for a lot. The only thing that gives me pause about trading away a Khalil Herbert is that running backs get injured, and
Yeah,
DeAndre Swift
that's
has
why
a history of that. So,
that's
like,
why they have four of them on their roster, man.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, keeping Herbert as an insurance policy might be worth just letting the contract phase out, just in case Roshan or Swift go down, because then you have someone serviceable to step into that
Yeah, and
role. That value might be more than a 6th
you
round
know
pick.
who's listed behind Herbert?
It's not Homer anymore, is it?
No, it's Mister kicks the kickoff back to the other team, bro.
Oh yeah, Velas. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, no.
Bayless
Let's
Jones is
let's
the fucking cool.
let's let's answer this question with a final. I think it would be better, probably the value. There's more value in keeping Khalil Herbert on this roster as an insurance policy to injury at the running backs in front of him than it is in terms of getting a 6th round pick that very rarely hit in the NFL draft. I would rather have his value be on this bench, to be honest, now that I'm
All right,
thinking
so
about it.
let's do a headline, deadline, or lifeline out of this, man. The Bears will trade a player.
I think that's more likely than them making a mega trade for a player. I'll say that. I don't know that it's even worth
No,
talking about.
and that's something that's doesn't it feel super polsy, right? We're all like all these, well, not me and you. We're super grounded, guys. It seems like you are in our chat. Most of the guys who watch the show are like me and you. They live and breathe this stuff. Most of us don't think Ryan Poles is going to make some big splash first round trade, but it's just like Ryan Poles to come out and be like, I got rid of Nate Davis. You know what I mean? That's some bullshit, dude. Like, that's the kind of stuff because he's been doing things historically. He's been on a host, dude. Ryan Poles is on a historic run over the last year of his life.
Again, I
Two
think
years. Sorry.
I
The trade with Carolina, the fourth round pick for Keenan Allen. It's like this stuff, the DeAndre Swift at a decent deal for sure. And he's the guy, right? You've said this many times, Dustin.
yep. No, he's put together a good team here, which is why I don't think he's going to make a trade, because again, we don't think that Poles expects Super Bowl out of this team, so he's not trying to make that big splash trade that'll put the Bears over the top. Not in my mind. If he can get
Yeah,
rid of a guy like
and
Nate
I do
Davis,
believe,
I'm
and I
all
do,
for something like that. But I don't see that happening, and I don't want that to happen. It's not really. I don't think that it's in Poles' wheelhouse or in the Bears' best interest to get rid of high draft picks for any player that's out there, to be honest. The only one
And
I would make an exception for is Myles Garrett, and I think that's a huge pipe dream, guys. I would rather the Bears stand pat, hold on to their draft capital, and have a hell of a draft, and then have 7 really more impact
well,
players that are on controlled deals going forward. That's
and
what I
it's
would have.
and it's a pipe dream that the Browns trade a player like that to begin with, man. But
Yeah.
but the one thing that man, I think Poles believes this team's a Super Bowl team in 2 years, in a year from now, right? Not
Next
the
year.
season.
Next year. I think
Because I
that's
think
the
Poles thinks
plan.
he can take 8 picks and make a Super Bowl team. That's what I believe. I really believe. I think Poles believes in himself that next year with 8 draft picks, he will make a Super Bowl winning football team. Because Poles believes he made the right choice at quarterback, which I think we can all agree it looks right now as if he did for sure. Right.
Yeah, he can take that to the bank and cash it out. That's a done deal. Dibs also asked, do you guys see a Keenan Allen extension happening? If not, do you think Poles looks at wide receiver 3 in free agency? And then Ant Mass popped in and said maybe a Mike Williams. I think
No,
if
he drafts a receiver. He
I think if the
absolutely.
money's
If Keenan Allen leaves, he drafts a receiver
for
without a
sure.
doubt.
And I think if and I think if let's just we'll go to that. If they do draft a receiver, it's going to be a slot wide receiver in my mind.
Yeah, no,
Somebody that brings
you don't need to go sign a
yeah.
free agent to play your number 3 wide receiver role. You can let a rookie develop at the 3 slot. You know what I mean?
And I
Like
think that's a traditional slot receiver too. I don't. You got your outside guys at that point in Roma Dunze and DJ Moore. So I think you would want somebody who's gonna rack up that middle of the field stuff. That's their specialty to do that. I
well,
mean,
and Dustin, you just said
yeah,
it. They have 2 really good receivers. They can
yeah.
draft a rookie who will be okay. You know what I mean? Like the benefit of having the
Caleb
receiving.
Williams. The benefit of
Yeah,
having Caleb Williams.
yeah. You can. I trust them to go find a talent in like the 4th round of the draft.
And then I trust that Caleb Williams after a full year in the NFL next year is going to be that much better, and he's going to make receivers that you bring onto this roster better. He's going to become that type of quarterback. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't see them going after a Mike Williams now on the other side, or anybody like that, to be honest. But on the other side of that, the only and VVV Jiggy Vinny brings it up here unless it's for not for very much money. Like if it's a team friendly deal, which I don't see Keenan Allen agreeing to, but hey, maybe he loves Chicago.
No, his team's been pretty stern. I
Yeah,
and I also think I don't think that 2 touchdown game was like the. I don't think Keenan Allen's about to disappear. I think Keenan Allen's about to
yeah.
get more and more and more involved. And unfortunately, guys, well,
He's gonna
fortunately,
price himself out of our
I
market. Yeah,
I think he's going to play
yeah.
phenomenally for the Bears, which is awesome. But I think it's going to make it so that Keenan Allen's not
Yeah, there was some hope a couple of games ago where it's like maybe he sputters through the season and we can re-sign him on some
yeah,
like
yeah.
cheap ass deal. But like then, like you just said, that hurts the Bears. If he's performing well, that's going to make the Bears a better offensive offense and a better football team overall. So we want that.
Right. But
That will
so
price him out of our market. That will.
and I'm gonna say this. There's no two comparison. There's no NFL comparison where the situation's the exact same, guys. But you think about Patrick Mahomes. He lost his number 1 wide receiver, and he was a good enough player to win Super Bowls. Caleb Williams still has his 1 and 2, right? Like Roma Dunze and DJ Moore will be there next year. So you're hoping Caleb Williams, like Patrick Mahomes, takes such a step where his number 3 receiver isn't a guy you have to worry about financially. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
if
that's
if
kind of what
if
I was
if,
saying
if
with
Pat
Caleb Williams
Mahomes
and stuff.
can, if Pat Mahomes can throw the ball to number 3 receivers across the board, right? I don't think there is a number 1 receiver on that football team
Well,
anymore.
then it's also leading to him not being a top 10 quarterback in any statistical category this
But
year,
they're
too.
still winning rings, man. So the bottom line is like, and like I said, the situation is different because we're talking about the Bears number 3. Like
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
guy.
And,
That's a
and
guy
the
you can go
situation is
flying
different
at
because
for.
the Chiefs are a completely different team than the Bears, so it's not really worth comparing. Dibbs says he likes the idea of adding a Keenan Allen-esque veteran as a mentor, though. He wasn't talking about a splash wide receiver signing. I
DJ
mean,
Moore is a veteran mentor at this point,
yeah,
man.
yeah, that's kind of where I was going to go. But I mean, listen, we'll see what happens with that. I think, though, to answer your original question, Dibbs, I don't see the Bears getting Keenan Allen on a cheap enough deal to where they're able to resign him or where I even want them to resign him. So I think he will be gone after this year. And hopefully it's a really good year for him and for the Bears. You know, this 1 year they're going to have together as far as I'm concerned. And so we were trying to roll into the coaching conversation. I just think it's interesting, and I just think it's worth talking about at this point in the season, like, and especially from the frame of like the Bears with Matt Eberflus, because the Bears started out rocky as hell. It was hard to watch. It was hard to take in as a Bears fan. And it was hard to process, and then
And you
get
knew
on
there
here and
was a
talk about it.
possibility. You
Yeah,
knew
yeah.
there was a possibility.
But you see this team getting better every week. You see the things that they need to get better at that they're not doing so well, them improving in those areas week to week. And it just gives me a lot of hope for this Bears team, because I think I'm looking at that on these teams. Like, you see a team like the New Orleans Saints start out 2-0 and look like they're going to set the league on fire offensively, and now they've lost 5 games in a row. And we talked about the Seattle Seahawks, Brandon, where they started out 3-0, and I think they're about to lose 4 in a row. They've lost 3 in a row, and they play Atlanta this week coming up. I think that's going to be a loss for them. So, like, and then you just start to see, like we were talking about, are there enough good head coaches in the NFL? Like, can you count on even half of these head coaches to do the right things to just not lose their team the game, or let alone win their team the game, man? And then you think about, where does Flus rank in that whole hierarchy in the league right now, given that the Bears are one of those teams that is getting better every week, you know?
That's fixing problems, man. You said
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's, I mean, I listen, you, so I actually went to bat for this guy, and you texted me, man, that you kind of on a show with the 4 of us, and you texted me like that kind of threw me off. I think this guy's doing the right stuff, man.
It
I'm not gonna
seems
stand
like
here,
he is,
Justin,
yeah.
and tell you he's a top 10 coach in the NFL. What I will tell you is I believe that he's good enough to accomplish what it is your expectation is. I think Ryan Poles wants a playoff appearance, doesn't expect a Super Bowl. I believe Eberflus can do that with this team this year, and he's a really, really, really good defensive coordinator. So as long as Matt Eberflus is not losing you football games, and he kind of did in the Colts game, he kind of did. That
Yep.
was a
That
really
was the one that
that was a
set me over
last
the edge.
that was a last season game. That was how he was coaching in those games last year
That
when
was
he
the one
had
that set me over the edge. Yeah.
3 score leads in the fourth quarter and lost football games with a defensive head coach like that. But like you said, man, especially the penalties, that's really impressed me, because I thought this was just going to be the theme of this season, is how
Two
often
penalties. Two
how much
penalties on
negative
Sunday.
yards can we acquire this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, he cleaned that up, man, and I think Flus is doing a really good job. I think his players like him, man. I think as long as he's not, I think he needs support too, man. Like when he's throwing those challenges, and there should be a coach on the sideline who's telling you, man, that was the
Don't
catch. Yeah,
yeah,
that was
don't throw that
move,
flag in this
move on to the
situation.
next one. Move on to the
Yeah.
next one. So like Eric Washington's got to be a voice in his ear for
But
sure.
Matt Eberflus does hire those guys, so it's like it all becomes a reflection on the head coach. And it's just like, as you watch some of these teams progress through this season, you're going to see good head coaches and you're going to see bad ones. Jim Harbaugh is a good head coach. That's why I was banking on the Chargers being a good team quickly, because
There's a
he's a
lot of
guy
good head
who
coach right now. The NFL has a lot of
establishes a culture. So it's
really
like,
good head coaches. Dustin,
so
give me your 10. Give me your 10 best head coaches in the NFL.
wow,
Because I
that's
want because I'm thinking like Eberflus is not in the top 10, but then I'm thinking to
hell
myself
no.
like I got to think of 10 guys that are like currently that
Okay,
I
so
think
we
of.
got let's start in our division. Dan
No,
Campbell, top
no,
10.
no, no. Give me your because I think we all
Bro,
agree with
I
it.
haven't thought about this. You're putting me on the spot. Let's just work
Okay,
this
well,
out.
can we agree that Mike
That's what I'm
Tomlin
trying to do. Dan Campbell, top 10
probably
head coach. Dan Campbell, right? Kyle Shanahan, right? Um, who
Mike
Matt
Tomlin,
LaFleur, Matt LaFleur,
yeah,
Mike Tomlin,
Jim
Jim Harbaugh.
Harbaugh, John Harbaugh,
We haven't mentioned Andy Reid, who has won the last few Super Bowls. So there's that guy. We got to get him in there.
John
Uh,
Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh, Ravens. Honestly, I think Kevin Stefanski is a good head coach. This Browns team is not reflecting that right now, but
Deshaun Watson sucks, yeah.
yeah,
So
I would put Kevin Stefanski in that top 10, I think.
yeah, you're doomed there, no matter what.
Yeah, so
I,
we
I
got
think
8 right there.
I think Shane Steichen's a good head coach, man. I do.
Okay, but he's not in that top 10. Get the fuck out of there.
No,
That
no,
Colts game was
no, he's
awful to
not. You're
watch
right.
on
He's
both
not.
sides with coaching. No, yeah, he's definitely not.
Somebody, hey guys, the chat, throw us some names because we're missing some guys, right?
Sean Payton is in that top
Yeah,
10.
because that Denver team over the last like 13 games or something, their record's pretty
Dude, we
impressive.
just
So
listed 3 AFC West coach. Things if you're Antonio Pierce, you're in the AFC West. What the fuck am I even doing here? I got Jim Harbaugh, Andy Reid, and Sean Payton as
well,
the
hey,
head going
Dibs
against.
mentioned Washington needs some credit for the deal. Dan Quinn might be a top 10 head coach in the NFL,
I'm
man.
not putting him there right now. No way, no how. Sorry, but yeah, no. I liked the hire. I said that from the beginning. I liked that hire. That made sense, and I thought he would perform well.
So man, is Flus a top 10 head coach? Like we didn't get to 10, we get to like
Guys,
7.
no, we got 10. Sean McVay makes 10. We forgot Sean McVay. That's why,
Is
like,
that 10 though? Did you
yeah,
have
that's
9
10.
on? All
That's
right.
10. That's 10. So Matty Eberflus is not in that top 10 in my mind, unless you guys disagree. I don't know. Do you disagree with any of those that we just put in the top 10?
Above Flus? No.
Above Flus? No, hell no, right? We could probably name a few more. Like Kevin O'Connell, would you put over Flus?
Of course.
Okay, there you go. That's 11. So every coach in the division, in our own division, right? And then you go down to Todd Bowles in Tampa Bay.
I'm so torn on Todd Bowles.
Okay, Raheem Morris in Atlanta, Dennis
I think
Allen,
Raheem Morris is a good head coach.
but
I
is
do.
I'm not putting him over Flus right now. I don't think
No,
I'm doing that.
but I think he's a decent head coach.
Okay, so then like that's Dennis Allen in the NFC South. I mean, there's
Oh
just
God,
not.
no.
Yeah, there's not much there. The AFC South
Oh, dude,
has a
D'Amico
bunch of
Ryan.
trash. D'Amico
D'Amico,
Ryan's,
yeah,
yeah. So that's
yeah.
12. That's
Yeah,
12. So
that's
Flus is at least 13. Yeah. AFC East, we forgot about McDermott in Buffalo, who's consistently going to the playoffs. So that's 13. So yeah, I mean, Flus is securely in the second half of coaches in the NFL from what we just
yeah.
listed off.
He's not a first or second tier head coach. He's probably a third tier head coach.
I'd put him over Mike McDaniel. I'd definitely put him over Jared Mayo. I'd definitely put him over
No,
these guys.
I'd put him over all the guys that Sirianni, Dennis Allen. I put him over all those guys that I said
Yeah,
should.
yeah.
I
So
put
he's
him
like
over
14
Brian.
or
I put him
15.
over Brian. You guys have this thing for Brian Dable. I'll put him over Dable. I don't. But
Don't get into this. You guys have this thing for Brian Dable
do you
thing.
think that he's a good head coach with
I
a
thought
bad team,
I
and
wanted
not just
Brian
a bad
Dable.
head coach?
I wanted Brian Dable to take fucking Matt Nagy's job.
I
That's
think he
how
sucks.
long I've wanted Brian Dable to be the Bears head coach. But
Yeah, Tibbs says D'Amico because we definitely forgot about D'Amico Ryan.
no, we got him in there. It just took a second, man. You put us on the spot there, so that's good pod though, Brando. We just
Yeah,
counted
so we've
coaches on our
established
fingers.
that Eberflus probably falls somewhere around 15th in the league. You
That's what I was
know,
just saying. It's 14 or 15. It's
yeah.
that's where he's at. So he's like
which
in
is which
the
is
second half.
if Caleb Williams is an elite franchise quarterback, the 15th best head coach can do the job, man. If he's coaching a defense the way he is, he do the job. I guess that's the good thing, man. Is like we have a defensive head coach. So our offensive coordinators working with our young quarterback might be promoted to head coaches, which sucks. The one benefit of having a defensive head coach is this guy's coaching the best defense in the NFL right now. They are number one, which by the way, man, I saw a stat today. Oh, I wish I could remember what it was. The Bears were leading in a category, a statistic I've never even seen on paper before, and they actually
Was it the
broke it
havoc?
down.
Was it the havoc stat that I
No,
got?
man.
No.
Oh man, that's gonna kill me.
All right, let's not
Yeah,
kill
no,
our
yeah,
audience
yeah, no,
with that.
yeah.
But you mentioned Caleb, man. I think that's a good transition to just kind of bask in the glory of Caleb Williams. I haven't seen any of the Caleb haters coming in here and talking, but maybe this conversation will bring it up. I don't know. I don't think we have any in the chat tonight. But if you are here, let's talk about it, man. Caleb is the first QB selected first overall to win 4 of his first 6 games. Let's just bask in some of these awesome Caleb stats for a second. All right. 4th QB ever to throw 4+ touchdowns and run for 50+ yards. 4th QB ever to do that, just in general.
Yeah, no rookie type, no rookie headline
Yeah,
there.
just ever in general quarterback. 79% completion for Caleb, and is the highest single mark by a rookie with 25+ pass attempts and 4+ touchdowns. Yep, that's pretty amazing. Let's take that in. Caleb was 13 of 14 on quick passes on Sunday for 111 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 9 first downs. That's just awesome. Awesome. He set career highs in success rate on Sunday at 58.8%. Touchdown passes, obviously, and completion percentage over expected, which is like one of those fancy metric stats that they use, but like it's a good tell-all for like if a quarterback is throwing the football well. And I believe he was 3rd or 4th in the league last week in that category. And he has again kind of mentioned this, but just the best win-loss record for a number 1 pick at QB since the merger. The best win-loss
And
record 6 games for any first overall QB since the merger, guys.
and his
That's Caleb
yards
Williams.
and his yards and touchdown to interception ratio are better than Drew Brees, Tom Brady. I think Philip Rivers. There was like 6 quarterbacks that he's better than in regards to touchdown interception ratio and total yards, and they're all Hall of Famers through 6 weeks of their career.
Yeah, no, it
And,
feels
and,
really
and Colin Coward,
feels
man,
really
said
good.
something that I actually do like. This is what Colin Coward said. You cannot determine a player's worth after 6 weeks. Like so if a quarterback comes out and he throws two touchdowns and 5 interceptions over 6 weeks, you can't say that guy's bad after 6 weeks. That's why we were all coming into this season like maybe Bryce Young could play better. I mean, maybe this is the year he takes a step, but because 6 weeks is not enough to determine what a player's worth. But he said after 6 weeks, you can almost always see traits of one thing or the other, a good quarterback or a bad quarterback. That is the thing
That's a very good
to
point.
absolutely see. And I thought to myself, man, I couldn't have said that better myself because like Bo Nix right now has bad traits to me. I don't know if I'm seeing something because Colin Coward said in the same segment, Nix looks like a franchise quarterback. I'm
Bonux.
seeing nothing but bad, bro. I don't know. Like the guy can scramble, but
Yeah, yeah,
I
you can do that.
I'm watching after 6 weeks. I'm thinking to myself, this is not a special player. But you look at Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams after 6 weeks, and you think
Holy shit.
there's definitely tools for a winning
Yeah.
recipe in these guys. No matter if, let's say, Jaden Daniels for the rest, let's say one of them tanks. Let's say Caleb, he's got 9 touchdowns. Let's say he ends up only throwing 17, and he throws 15 picks. I'm a firm believer that Caleb Williams has shown traits that he is a good player in the NFL for sure. Like
I can confidently say right now, week 6 of Caleb's rookie season, I've never been more confident when I've watched a Chicago Bear quarterback let go of a football in my lifetime. I can confidently say that. In all my time watching
yeah.
football since I was 4 years old, I have not seen a Bears quarterback look as good throwing the
Well,
over the
and
over.
I am willing to bet, man, that we've never had a quarterback smarter than Caleb Williams.
And then there's that too.
I
Yeah.
keep selling this, and I guys, one of my closest friends is a Packers fan, and I said this to him, and he completely denied. He said, "That's just some biased stuff." I think Caleb Williams is one of the smartest quarterbacks we're probably ever gonna see play in the NFL. And when I say this, guys, I don't mean like Justin Fields blew out the numbers on the aptitude test,
That's
meaning
a hyperbolic
he had a
statement.
and
That
but
is a
that means
hyperbolic statement, Brandon, that you just made. Like that's a lot of football to go across to say that. That's a big one.
yes, no.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm gonna say is like God damn it, Justin Fields aptitude test, right? This is something we heard a lot. They pitched this, the Bears especially. Bears writers wrote over this because it was good news, right? He, I think, set a record for like with like a 1036 on his aptitude test, which meant, guys, that Justin Fields had the best ability
It's the
of
same amount
anyone
of passing yards he had last season.
to remember a playbook. Which nice, Dustin. But it just kind of collected it. But yeah, um, so he remembers a playbook. Great. That's an aptitude is a memory test. The guy remembers a playbook. Cool. Caleb Williams can read a fucking defense. Justin Fields has no idea where pressure is coming from or what the coverage is across from him when he's looking at it. He doesn't know what it is.
That's a very good point because, like, remembering the answers for a test is
It's
different
different
than
than
knowing the
knowing that
process of getting the answer. Those are
it's different
two very
than
different things.
knowing the content in general,
Yeah,
right? Like,
knowing the formula and how it works and how you make it work to get the answers you need. Those are two very different things, man. So yeah, I mean, Caleb is a smart. You can just see it in his control of the offense. That's another thing that's obviously super impressive to
well,
see
and
a rookie quarterback
when you're watching,
controlling the offense pre-snap. It's just fucking super impressive, man.
yeah,
I couldn't be
you're
more
talking
happy
about,
with
dude,
who we have at
right?
quarterback.
So I think you're having like, I had this moment a long time ago, and nobody else really did when I did. Like the things you're watching this kid do as a rookie in week 6 is just not a thing. It's not a like
Brandon, don't
quarterbacks
tell me
do this.
I'm having a moment that you had a long time ago because I'm the one that pointed out
Well,
to you after game one when they had a fucking.
quarterbacks
I'm the one that
do
pointed
a
out to his control at the fucking line pre-snap. We
a
talked
lot
about
of
that after game one.
a lot of quarterbacks do this, but they're not rookies in week 6 of their career.
Yeah,
This is not a common thing. And man, when you see a conversation like the one we heard on the hot mic with Coleman Shelton, where Coleman he changes the play, Coleman Shelton doesn't like the play because he says, I've got fucking fire here. He's talking about pressure. Caleb Williams was already ahead of him, and Caleb Williams' response was, I got
I
it.
know. He
Like
said, I know,
yeah,
but
like don't yeah,
yeah,
like I'm
I
before
got this. Don't
I'm
worry
ahead
about
of
it.
you. So don't
Yeah.
worry about it. I'm ahead of
Can you
you, bro.
acknowledge real
Yeah.
quick because you just said that you think I'm having a moment that you had before everyone else. We had
Well,
that conversation after game one, Brandon. Me and you
right,
had a
but
phone
this
call.
conversation, why I'm saying this
Or sorry,
conversation
that was
came
after
up
game two. It was against
when
the Texans.
we had a misinterpreted conversation where I said something about Caleb Williams is the reason that I think Caleb Williams was the best player in this draft still is, even though Jaden Daniels is throwing 80% completion and just playing better football from start to finish. Caleb Williams is a different. It's just the what I was trying to tell you guys that day on the House Hangover was
I'm
this
not
guy.
talking about that. I'm just talking about the
This
conversation.
guy's
I see what Caleb
this
Williams
guy's
did.
mentality. I don't want Jaden Daniels based off what I've seen from Caleb Williams. As good as Jaden Daniels has been, I'm good. I don't want that. I want what I'm seeing in this kid. I want the ability to
Yeah,
play
but
this
Brandon, in that
game
conversation, we
like
all
it's
said we would
chess.
still take Caleb
Yeah.
Williams. Nobody said they would take, and we were just acknowledging that Jaden Daniels is having a
Yeah.
very good
So I don't
season.
want Jaden
Nobody
Daniels
said
plays
they would take
football
him over Caleb.
like it's checkers, bro. Like he's leaping over pieces. That's literally and figuratively. And Caleb plays the game of chess, and he's one of those quarterbacks that you think knows it so well he's bound to win a Super Bowl because those guys always do, man. They
Yeah,
do.
we're in good hands.
The
The
guys,
Bears
the
as an
guys like
organization are in good hands, man.
even
They're,
even a guy like Nick Foles, who was praised more often than not for just knowing football. Like he's a coach below the what do they call
who
him?
Justin Fields didn't want to learn anything
Yeah,
about
they called him
football and
like the
playing quarterback.
coach below the coach beside the coach or something. So like that's he was literally, I don't know what his negative, it was something regarding being a coach, but the guy won a Super Bowl. Let's be honest, man. The guy's not an incredible talent. He won a Super Bowl because he was able to run an offense and he's also he had the ability to understand what the defense was doing.
Yeah,
Like
he could
that's
throw a football. He could throw a football. I don't want to get too deep into that, but I do. Well, again, just that made me think of the fact that Justin Fields was not even open to taking like advice from a guy like Nick Foles. And then this brings me to a conversation, and he's a rookie quarterback. Why would you not want to take advice from a guy like Nick Foles? How could it hurt? You're way out of
what
bounds with that.
he's won a
But
Super Bowl. Yeah.
yeah, come on now. But what I want to talk about is like just a quick text conversation we had earlier in the week. Is like, hey, we got Caleb Williams, Justin Fields is gone. We want to move on, but I don't want people to forget that you wanted Justin Fields. You wanted Justin
Oh,
Fields
we're gonna
so
do this. We're gonna
yeah,
do
we're
this.
doing this because I
All
want
right.
to do it. You wanted Justin Fields so bad that you put down Caleb Williams at every single turn. You talked about shit that had nothing to do with football and tried to beat down his character and say he doesn't want to be in Chicago and he paints his
Paints his
nails
nails. Yeah,
and
right.
he has a pink phone and he's too short. He's not tall and just literally every single fucking thing every day just to like convince yourself that Justin Fields should be what's up.
Roll it. Roll it.
Oh, thanks, Brandon. You just to convince yourself that Caleb was not the guy, so that Justin Fields could be the guy. So honestly, it's cool. Moving on. Caleb Williams is our quarterback. But just like during COVID, when I didn't want to wear a mask and everybody was telling me I needed to wear a mask because it's science, I want it to be remembered going forward that there were people who were right and there were people who were wrong. Okay. So the next time we have this conversation, we can at least have that as a frame of reference. You wanted Justin Fields. You wanted him. You begged for him. You supported him through all of that shit, all those bad plays, all those bad reads, all those bad throws, every loss. You pushed for him so much so that you put down your quarterback now. You put him down. You made him out to be something he wasn't because you needed that to do that to convince yourself that Justin Fields was something he wasn't too. So please just remember that. All right. It's on your record. It's on your permanent record. It stays there, guys.
And
It
own
doesn't
it.
get to go away.
You save receipts. Own that shit. But I want to say this, man. Justin
You
Fields.
threw me off so bad, Brandon. I thought you were telling me to wrap it up,
Sorry,
bro.
no, I heard my kid, man. I had to go check something up. But Justin Fields could
Did
win
I
games.
deliver that concisely enough? Do they understand where we're coming from when I say that? Do you feel like I got that across?
I think you were correct. So if they don't understand, who cares? But
Okay.
Justin Fields would win football games on this team, guys. He might even be 4-2. I don't know. On this football team.
No fucking way. I'm sorry.
But
No, I
but
can't. I don't agree with that,
but
Brandon.
hold
That's
on,
wrong.
hold on. Well, yeah, no,
That's wrong.
because they've played they've played bad secondaries, which is something Justin Fields never
He couldn't
exploited.
exploit.
But
Yeah, no, no.
regardless, doesn't Justin Fields? I think I'm almost positive Ryan Poole said this. You can win with Justin Fields. The Steelers have done it. You won't win because of Justin Fields, guys. There is going to be games that you win because of fucking Caleb Williams. It's going to happen. There's going to be many games in the Bears' future where they win because Caleb Williams is their quarterback. That's the difference. That's what we've got now. That's what me and Dustin were ready to move on from a year ago, right? Dude, 2 years, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Justin Fields has talent, he's athletic, he can win you football games, and he does it ugly. And you kind of love a player like that. He's got grit. Often injured though, takes hits he shouldn't, holds the ball too long, and he just wasn't an efficient passer. And I believe this is the reason why, guys. He's got a great arm. He could throw the ball deep. He might even have more accurate deep ball than Caleb Williams does.
I wanted him to be good
I'll
so
even
bad.
pitch that.
I wanted him to be
He
good so bad.
he cannot make reads. He cannot make progressions. If you can't make reads, you can't make progressions. But he can't read a defense before the snap, and he
We've
can't read a
seen Caleb.
defense.
Yeah.
He can't read a defense during a play.
We've
in
seen
those
Caleb
times.
go through his reads more in these last 3 games than
No,
I could.
I saw him, he's made 2 full progressions. He's gone
Yeah.
through all
Yeah.
4 reads twice. This guy's made 2 full progressions in a single play. And the beauty of it is he does
If
it
that was a
quickly.
stat, Brandon, if that was a stat, he'd already have more career, whatever those would be, than Justin Fields has. he'd already
Progressions,
have more.
yeah. But
Yeah,
and
if
he
that was a
also
stat. Maybe it
and he
is.
also
If it is, let me know.
and he also does it quickly because he's aware enough to know he's not standing behind the Detroit Lions offensive line. You know what I mean? Like he makes his reads really quick, but he gets back to reads. It's like this guy's man. That's what the IQ level of this individual is. What's blowing my mind.
Yeah, he's
It,
got the total
it's
package. He's got all of
it's
it. So I just wanted to bask in that a little bit on this bye week and just kind of
yeah,
take
guys.
that
No,
in.
let me
We
say
have a
this.
quarterback, guys.
Let me say this
We
to
have
you.
a franchise quarterback.
Once
Finally.
Justin Fields was benched, okay, after Justin Fields got benched, I'm seeing a lot of the new narrative is we drafted the wrong guy. Okay, so now we're going to exclude Justin Fields from this conversation, Dustin. And now this story is we drafted the wrong guy. Well, I keep hearing. Obviously, if you're saying that, then you mean Jaden Daniels is the player we should have drafted. Now, why people can continue to say this, or the reason they're using because they failed the Justin Fields debate once again because he's benched, is Caleb Williams has beaten nothing but bad football teams. I'm going to tell you guys who the Commanders have beaten. They lost to the Buccaneers, which is a good team, playoff team, probably winning
Yeah,
record.
they're solid. They're solid.
They beat the Giants 21-18,
That's a bad team.
and they almost lost.
That's a bad team.
They beat the Bengals 38-33.
I think that's a better team than they have been so far, but the
They
book
they
is not written on
they,
that yet.
they smoked the Cardinals, who I'm coming to find is one of the worst teams in the
It's a
NFL. I
bad
did
team.
not realize how bad the Cardinals were. I'm going to be honest, guys. I came into the season thinking the Cardinals could win like 6 games. I would be
That's a bad team.
shocked.
That's
I
not a
would
good team.
I would be shocked if that team wins 6 games. I would be
I don't know
shocked.
that I would be shocked. 6 wins is a pretty bad
The
record,
Cardinals
bro.
are not for me. The Cardinals are not out of the first overall pick next year conversation. They
I
are
didn't
not out
like
of
the
the
Cardinals
conversation.
draft at all, man. Besides Marvin Harrison Jr., honestly. So yeah, I mean, I didn't have them winning. I think I had them winning 5 games this season. Yeah.
So they beat the Giants, the Bengals, the Cardinals, and the Browns.
Yeah.
Who
Another awful team.
is the
Awful
most
team.
dysfunctional organization in probably professional sports? So I mean, you send a guy with 27 sexual assault allegations and a year off of football to a fully guaranteed contract. I,
He has more sexual assault allegations in that time than he has touchdowns thrown. It's like 4 years.
I don't I don't know that there's been a worse move by a
It'd be funny if
professional
sexual
sports.
assault allegations were like a stat on Deshaun Watson's stat muse. Like they were just like thrown in at the end. Like
Yeah, Stat Muse is such a bad website, bro.
you could like ask it for like the Bulls record in the last 3 seasons, and it like gives you directions to McDonald's. It's like... Anyways, your point was, Brandon, what was your point? What was our point? What were we talking about? Oh yeah,
I was talking about the fact
oh yeah,
that
Jaden Daniels.
the Commanders haven't played very good teams either. So like that argument doesn't stand up very strong for me either.
Yeah,
Um,
and I highly doubt that Commanders fans are talking about that when it comes to their rookie quarterback. I highly doubt that there's a single person in the greater Washington area that's saying, yeah, Jaden Daniels been really good, but who the fuck has he played? That nobody's saying that. They're excited about their rookie quarterback playing well, right? Like that's what you're supposed to do as a fan when you can't control who you play. You can only like win.
Right, and it makes a statement when you beat up on bad teams as a rookie, because it certainly makes you it always works two ways, guys. It would certainly make a statement if Caleb lost to the Jaguars and the Panthers, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Like
So it can't work both
if he
ways.
threw four, let's say he threw four interceptions and threw one touchdown and ran for a touchdown over those 2 weeks,
He'd be
and they
the
lost
worst
both
He'd
games.
be the worst number one quarterback since Bryce Young,
Yeah,
if that were the case.
yeah,
Yeah.
but he did exactly what a good player should do against those
Oh,
defenses, you
dude,
know.
you're gonna see the
And
Jaguars. You're gonna see Trevor Lawrence, who was the number one overall pick, and the Jaguars not beat up on a bad team this week. So, like, you can see examples of other NFL teams and quarterbacks that just got paid
the
$275 million.
Jaguars, yeah, Trevor
They're
Lawrence
gonna have
lost
trouble
it.
with the Patriots, guaranteed.
Trevor Lawrence gave the Browns their only win. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're going to have trouble with the Patriots and they might lose. I will guarantee that. It will be a close game.
I
They
know.
aren't going to beat down the
I have a
Patriots.
two quarterback fantasy league, guys. I almost plug and play Drake May because that's how bad I think this Jaguars team is.
Yep.
You know
And you
where
know
I
who
stand on the
yeah.
Jaguars. Yeah.
So I mean, like we can come up with all these caveats and all this shit, but Caleb can only go out on the field and play who's on the schedule. He can only perform against those teams, and in the last 3 weeks, he's performed very well. He's getting better every week. That's what you want a rookie quarterback to do. And I just read through his numbers. These are impressive fucking numbers. Like first QB ever to do this from this these are things that we've never read about Justin Fields, guys. They just are. So our quarterback was the right choice. I don't think Ryan Poles has buyer's remorse about taking Caleb Williams. And I think if the Commanders had the number one overall, I know if the Commanders had the number one overall pick, they would have taken Caleb Williams
Oh,
too.
of course. Yeah, they had his
Yeah,
coach.
yeah. So,
There's no,
so,
there's no doubt about that.
so,
And I'll say this, man. Jane Daniels, we've said this before. Thank God that we have two young, good quarterbacks to watch for the next decade.
and we get to watch
Jane
them play each
Daniels,
other next week.
Jane Daniels apparently is throwing to the right side of the field at like a percentage around 70 or something like that. And he's
Yeah,
also he's also throwing to his first read at a 77%. So this is what I'm saying to you guys. Like there's things in Caleb that I see that I don't see in Jane Daniels that make me believe Caleb will be a better long-term
over
quarterback.
time it
Yeah,
will work better. Yes,
100%.
as long health permitting, and that the team keeps doing what they've been doing, which is develop him properly and put good players around him to help him get better. Like
Yeah.
those are the things that are going to matter in that, because Caleb has the skills, both physically and mentally, as you're saying, to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
And I hate doing this. I do, but like if you compare players with the styles these guys have, they're both. I mean, you have Lamar Jackson, who Jaden Daniels could end up being comparatively similar to, but who's won two MVPs. But would I rather have Patrick Mahomes? I
Yeah,
mean,
and
like,
I made this and Zach Lipsy made the comp earlier
yeah,
this
no,
week.
you made it before
I
the
made
season.
that in the
Yeah,
off
the
before
Robert
the
Griffin,
draft.
Andrew Luck. Yeah, was
Yes. And that's kind of what I see this as. That's a very good parallel, I think. Jaden Daniels is Robert Griffin and Caleb Williams is Andrew Luck. And I would rather have Andrew Luck as long as retire early. Like Caleb is going to play in the league a long time. This guy wants to be the best ever. We just went through all that and we didn't even talk about how much the drive is in him to be the best quarterback that's ever played football. This guy wants to break records and win Super Bowls. He wants that more than anything. He ain't retiring early, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I've said it on the show before, man. He wants everything to be perfect. I mean, I'm talking about every play. This guy wants he wants to leave a game without because when Caleb Williams finishes a game and he has a post game interview, it's always like, we got to get better here. We'll watch the tape and make sure we
Yep.
fine
He
tune this.
focuses on what he could
Yeah.
be better at, his mistakes, way more than
So
he focuses on
so
what he did well.
this guy,
Yeah.
he's one of those players, man, and it sounds like a bad thing, but I mean it in the best way, who's never satisfied. I mean,
He's
it's never good enough. Like it could
yeah.
be better. And that's
If he starts a
usually
family, if he will get divorced. He will get a Tom Brady going. If he starts a family, it's not going to work because he's going to be so focused on football that he's not going to give his family any
and
attention. He's going to
I'm not saying, guys, like this is that quality in a player is typically a sign of greatness. It really is. Those
yeah.
are usually the guys who do this stuff. They live it, they breathe it, they eat it, they sleep on it. They like the
They
guys
sleep on it.
and they constantly like they right. They're dreaming about how they can be better. But the guys who literally think that anything that happens and like if I underthrew that pass by a yard was the most important part of the game they just played when they won like 42-0. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that pass, it could have lost us the game. If I need to make that, like those guys are the guys, man, that just end up being great.
Yeah, and that's the point I was making earlier in the week. And we can go all night on a Caleb fucking love fest, man, because I don't know. We love this guy.
I love fun sport. Yeah, we
Oh,
can talk.
don't get insecure now, Brandon. Come on now. You've professed your love for the last 30
What
minutes.
you're breaking up.
I said don't get insecure now, Brandon. You've
You're
professed
not
your
breaking
love.
up. It was a joke, man.
Oh, fuck you. I believed I was breaking up because
Guys,
I
throw
got possibly
something in the
something.
chat.
Yeah.
We're
No,
trying
there's
to.
been nothing in the chat. I think we
Yeah, I
just
know.
completely pushed them away.
No, we still got viewers, man.
Yeah, no, yeah, but I don't know. I feel like we were engaging them pretty well. So if anything comes back up, we will mention it. I
Guys,
did
what
want
do
to
you
do it.
think? What's your impression of Caleb Williams so far? Did the Bears make the right choice? I'll ask you
We're
that.
at an hour 45 minutes, man. Let's get into the last couple things we want to get into and call it a night. I think it's been an awesome fucking show, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
and I appreciate everybody in the chat. Aunt Mass, Dibs, Vinny, and we have Bruce in here. Soda P was another new one, man. Dennis Moody. So guys, hit that subscribe button. We always like to see subscribers added after our show because it means that you were engaged with it and you liked it and you want to come back for more. So please do yourself that favor and do us that favor because we have a lot of fun here. But I did want to do a public service announcement, Brandon, on the fact that if you're planning on watching the Chicago Bulls, and we've been talking football, but we love the Bulls. And you know, like, oh yeah, Vinny, he was non-committal on the fantasy basketball league. So
I'll do it, Vinny. I'll do it.
all right, put him on the spot. Good job, Vinny. He's in it. He's in. He's in fantasy basketball. I haven't done that in years. I'm kind of excited about that. But if you plan on watching the Bulls this year, guys, you're gonna have a lot of problems doing that if you don't have like direct TV or there's a couple other ones, but like shit I've never heard of. The Bulls are now on the Chicago Sports Network, CSN, which like that got them on Hulu. Am I with you, Brandon? I broke up there.
You cut out a little bit.
You don't got them on Hulu. You don't got them on Comcast. Where are we watching the Bulls this year, Brandon? You can't see them anywhere. You have to get, and then literally this, I read this today. You need to get the the rabbit ears to connect to your TV to pick them up streaming over the airwaves to watch the fucking Bulls. This is my team, dude. And I have to get bunny ears to hook up to my TV to watch the Bulls play basketball.
There's Red Fox banging on the TV in Sanford and Son.
What the fuck? What is going on here? The Bulls start on October 23rd for the regular season, and I don't know how I'm going to watch them. This is very disappointing.
Once you figure it out, you record it with your phone and you send it to me.
Because you're not gonna even take the energy to figure it out. It's not worth it.
I mean, I will. I'll figure it out. But guys, I do want to say this: Lonzo Ball played his. I want to talk about that for real quick,
No,
man.
no, don't change the subject, dude. This is bullshit. Doesn't this infuriate you as a
This is
Bull fan?
bullshit, is
This
what
is
it is.
some Bulls bullshit. It really is.
Some
You
bullshit right
you
now.
you can't watch the
I
Bulls right now, guys. You can't
yeah.
watch them unless you have DirecTV.
Hey Dibs, thanks for staying tuned. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, man. For sure.
And he subbed. So thank you, Dibs. Appreciate that. But I just find that
Dibs.
to be complete mismanagement of your organization, dude. It shows that the Reinsdorfs are completely out of touch. It shows that this team,
Oh really?
it's just another example that the fucking
Dude,
Reinsdorfs are
what
completely out of touch.
are we gonna bang out the Ryan's? Because like, are you hearing what's going on with the White Sox?
No, but yeah, no, dude, NBA League Pass, Vinny, is blocked out. You can't watch the local team on NBA League Pass, just like you couldn't watch the Bears on NFL Sunday Ticket. Your local games are blocked out on League Pass and Sunday Ticket. So getting League Pass is not a solution to this problem. You have to get an antenna for your TV. That's what you have to do.
Dude, Jerry Reinsdorf is, because he's not getting the public funding for his new stadium, is threatening to sell the Sox to an owner that would move them to Tennessee.
Good. Let him go.
Oh, it's
Get
just
Jerry
like,
Reinsdorf
how
out
much
of the
more could
business.
you dislike this person, man? Like,
How much more could he dislike these Chicago fans and just show it
yeah,
blatantly? And just
and
everyone be like,
dislike.
okay,
How
yeah,
much
keep
more
fucking
could a
us in the
guy
ass.
dislike winning? It's like-
What
he
the
called
hell,
this.
dude?
He called this 2020 season an embarrassment. What do you call this last season, man?
I'm sorry, what?
What?
What? What did you just ask?
He called his 2022 season an embarrassment because they
Yeah.
lost like 70 games. I don't
Oh,
remember if they lost.
you're talking about
He,
the White Sox.
yeah.
I don't want to
Well,
talk about the White Sox. It don't matter to me. I will say this. I think the White Sox and the Blackhawks are a part of the Chicago Sports
yeah, they
Network
are. They
deal.
are.
So, like Blackhawks fans, what are you doing? And what are our teams doing to us? We gotta jump through hoops just to watch them play. I mean, like, there's a big part of me that wants to
Thanks,
just say,
Turd.
fuck it. I'm not gonna
Thanks,
watch.
Turd. Thanks, Turd Ferguson.
Thank you, Turd Ferguson. Thanks for making us say your name too. He says good listening and he subbed. We got 2 subs,
Right.
man. Hell yeah. That's cool. That's cool. So yeah, man. I'm just
Yeah,
super
Ryan
pissed
Storm
off about it.
sucks, man. CSN sucks. It all sucks.
Dude, I just remember sitting on at the end of my mom's bed watching the Bulls game on WGN when I
Every
was like
team.
6 years old. And like it's always been accessible. And it just
Well,
it's
the Cubs went to
ugh.
Marquee, but they didn't make you buy bunny ears to make it all work, bro. Like,
Yeah, no,
what?
but they made you
Why
pay
do we?
for it, which pissed me off
Why are
too.
we regressing in technology to watch the Bulls games?
And
Like,
everybody will tell me
you gotta go.
Get the Infinity TV or whatever. You can
You
watch
gotta go
whatever
get a
you
transistor radio to listen.
Yeah, it's like, what
What are
kind of
we doing?
level are you operating at? You're a professional NBA franchise, and this is how you're telling your fans they can watch you? Oh, yeah, you can go buy some fucking an antenna to put on the top of your
Yeah,
TV.
I
We
got
have
that
flat
transistor
TV.
radio. It's still not working. You have to have a black and white TV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Dude, I'm just so pissed off about it, and I'm debating on whether I've never missed a Bulls season. I watch every game, even when I know they're going to suck, and they're going to suck this year. Their over-under is 27 and a
Yeah, but
half
they're
for the
more
Bulls.
exciting than they've been in years.
Yeah, they're actually young, and they're actually. I want to watch Matas. I want to see this team grow and develop. Honestly, it'll be fun. I think they're gonna. I think they'll hit their under on their over/under season win total of 27 and a half. I would pick the under for that team, and hopefully, it is way under, and they have a chance at a really high, good pick to improve this team. But all I'm saying is you don't give a shit about your fans, Chicago Bulls. Jerry Reinsdorf, you don't give a shit about your fans. If this is the position you're putting them in for them to watch your product, to take in your product. And I'm
And
just not okay with that. And I feel
that's
kind
not
of
news
betrayed.
to anyone, man. That's not news to anyone. That guy's
But
been
it's
not
just,
giving a shit about his fans for a long time.
I remember hearing about this like earlier in the year and kind of ignoring it and thinking like there's no way it's going to get to the point where I can't just turn on my TV and watch the Bulls. And now it has, and the season's like less than a week away, and I'm fucking pissed off about it, man. So I just wanted to mention it in case you guys didn't know, any other Bulls fans in here listening. Like if you don't have Direct TV and some other shit I've never heard of, some other cable networks I've never heard of, you can't watch the Bulls unless you go get an antenna and you can watch them on like a channel on your TV. It's so stupid, dude. It's so stupid. That's what I got, man. And I'm just very passionate about the fact that I think it's complete bullshit.
You know what you can watch on TV though? Caleb Williams' homecoming next week against Jaden Daniels, which was flexed to 325. That's what you can watch.
Yeah, I can watch that. Actually, I got to change my schedule at work to be able to watch the game. I think because like I liked it at noon. I said that to you guys. Like I didn't want it to get flexed. I told you guys to shut up about it because I can watch it and then go to work. And now I got to like flip some things around. We'll see how that goes. But you wanted to end, Brandon. We're kind of floundering right now, but I did want to get that point across again to everybody. The Bulls are pieces of shit for this. Please,
Are unwatchable. Yeah.
shout it from the rooftops.
The unwatchables.
Yeah, literally unwatchable. Like they're gonna be unwatchable on the court, but now they're literally like I can't watch them be unwatchable. So like that's
watchables. Yeah.
The Bulls are my team from a kid, man. I feel betrayed.
Yeah, mine too, man. Mine too. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, you wanted to end with you said underrated sports movie or most did you want to name a few or movie? What was the
No, what do you think? Well, how about this? What do you like your most underrated sports movie? A movie that you think is at the top of the list for sports films that nobody else does, but also a movie that if somebody hasn't seen it, so we're not talking about like Remember the Titans here. Like if it's a movie you think people haven't seen widespread, then give it a shout.
that's an interesting question, man. I do want to throw a couple out because Vinny's still with us, so I'm gonna throw a couple out for Vinny because me and Vinny go way back and we Play It to the Bone, boxing movie with Woody Harrelson and Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty fucking great movie, and me and Vinny used to watch that repeatedly, actually, back in the day when we were kids. But yeah, that's the next one I was gonna go to, Vinny. Any Given Sunday as the best football movie, probably. The Replacements I actually like. It's kind of corny, it's kind of cheesy, but I like the. I feel like we could talk about this for a while. I like the Replacements a lot. Any Given Sunday is the shit. Al Pacino giving that fight for every inch speech, dude, with like the chariots going no, that's actually two different speeches. Sorry, but Any Given Sunday,
speech. Yeah,
yeah. Great. Any Given Sunday is a great movie, and Vinny does remember Play It to the Bone. Another boxing movie that was pretty underrated, Undisputed, with Wesley Snipes and Ving Rhames, where they fight in jail.
I mean, was that a lot of people know what Undisputed is, man.
That was an underrated movie, man. It was like it felt like it was a straight to cable movie, but it was one of those ones that was on cable that we could rewatch over and over again. But yeah, it's Any Given Sunday for me, probably. But I would throw this out there, guys, as probably my sneaky favorite sports movie, Semi-Pro. It's a sneaky sports movie, and it's really sneaky is one of the funniest movies of all time, in my opinion. I fucking laugh my ass off every time I watch that movie. If you haven't seen Semi-Pro, it was not received well. It did not get good ratings, and it did not do well. It made less money in the box office than they spent on the movie, so it did not do well. But I fucking love that movie. Semi-Pro is the shit. So I just want to throw out some honorable mentions.
Nobody called you a JT. A little over
the line, my man. No, he didn't call you a jive turkey. He called you a cocksucker.
A little over the line, my man.
I did
my
get
movie, man, is Cinderella, man. Russell Crowe played the lead role, and it's a story about Jim Braddock, a boxer during the Great Depression, who's long been done and kind of.
Are you giving us a synopsis of the movie?
I am, yeah. He ends up fighting the guy who's holding the title belt, Max Baer. but this is a true
It's a true
story.
story. It's a
Yeah,
true
true,
story. Yeah.
very true story. Apparently, like almost to a T. But awesome movie, man. Russell Crowe, obviously after
It
Gladiator,
is a great
did it
movie.
again. Did it again. Yeah, it's a roller coaster. You know what I mean? Sad, happy, like it's just every emotion you can feel in that film.
I
But
will say this: you put me onto that movie. I had not seen it, and then you owned it, and you told me about it, and I watched it because of that. I think I borrowed it from you and watched it. Yeah, it's a good movie, man. It's a good movie.
yeah, really
Boxing
well
movies
done.
are easy. Boxing movies
Paul
are easy to
Giamatti.
do sports wise.
Paul Giamatti. I mean, Paul Giamatti's the man. But
Vinny brings up Draft Day being unexpectedly good. I don't know that I agree. I guess I got to watch it again, Vinny, because me and you are usually on the same wavelength. But I did not
yeah,
like
I
Draft
didn't
Day.
love Draft Day. I liked
No.
Moneyball. I didn't love Draft Day.
Moneyball's a universally respected and well received movie. That's a fucking great movie. One I will throw out too that I watched just kind of on a whim. It was a basketball movie with Ben
Space Jam.
Affleck. Huh?
Space Jam.
Space Jam. Yeah. Space Jam 2. Yeah. It's even better than the first.
Oh god.
No, yeah, that's I'm fucking around, guys. But the way back with Ben Affleck, he's like an alcoholic construction worker that becomes a basketball coach. He was like a good basketball player in high school. He becomes a high school basketball coach. It's kind of like Coach Carter with
That
Sam
sounds like
Jackson.
the rookie with Dennis Quaid.
Dude, the way
Throws the
back, if you
ball
haven't
past.
I was actually really surprised at how good that movie was. I enjoyed it throughout. It's a good drama movie, and yeah, man, check out The Way Back if you haven't. Ben Affleck in that role.
Yeah, I've never
Um,
seen it. I will check it out.
yeah, no, I think it was on Prime when I saw it. I don't know if it still is, but yeah, I mean, if you got to pay for it, don't do that. But like, if you can
Yeah,
watch it for free, do
yeah.
that.
Save your money. Save your money for the Bulls.
Yeah, Vinny, check out The Way Back with Ben
That was
Affleck.
funny.
I'm sorry I missed it. I
I
was
said
reading the
Florida.
comment.
I said Florida State Seminole Vesticles. But no, that was he.
Oh, you're no, it wasn't funny. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I made you repeat that.
Dude, that's from what? It's from that show. I said Florida State Seminole Vesticles. Nobody laughed.
Oh, that's
Leonard
Letterkenny.
Kenny. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Letterkenny. You're right, dude. You're right. It didn't sound funny coming out of your mouth. I'm sorry, but it is funny on the show. You're right. So
No,
if you
you
guys,
said don't. You said don't pay for it if you have to pay for it. The movie, and I said yeah, save your money for the bowls.
oh, okay,
Yeah, that
gotcha.
was the joke.
All right.
All
Then,
right, man. Is there anything else? Well, let's give a shout out to River Street, dude. Do you remember our other sponsor?
Ideal amusement. Ideal
Ideal
amusement.
Amusement. That is correct, guys. Ideal Amusement.
Were you
Sorry, it's a
quizzing me, or did you
newer.
not know?
No, I didn't know. It's a newer sponsor. Sorry, guys. Ideal and Sean kind of the first time it was announced it was like maybe, but like Ideal Amusement, guys, is on board. Awesome. Thank you, Ideal Amusement. Thanks, River Street Tavern. Thank you everybody in our chat, guys. Honestly.
Yeah, Vinny hung with us. Turd Ferguson got us a sub.
We had
Tibbs
we
subbed
had a
with us.
great chat tonight, guys.
Yeah,
These are the
man.
shows me and Dustin want. You guys were active. You brought up subjects, topics in which we would love to discuss for sure. So
And we
keep it
promise if
coming.
y'all bring up stuff that we can discuss, we will discuss it. We will get you on the show, and we will go back and forth with you, even if you have more to say about it. So we will engage with y'all and get you involved in the conversation. That's what. Otherwise, we could just record this and put it out. Like we go on specifically for you guys for the chat because we value you in it as a part of the show. So come
Yeah,
back
and
next.
we've had suggestions from people who've been in this industry, the content industry for a long time, who tell us we should record our shows, and the live show brings us the ability to interact with you guys, the guys in the chat. So
Yeah.
definitely keep bringing it for sure.
Just to recap for people who are watching still or will watch in the future, good sports movies to check out. Brandon wants you to check out Cinderella Man. Do you got any other ones to throw out there? Anything else?
No, not ones that people probably haven't already seen. No.
I threw out Undisputed with Wesley Snipes and Ving Rhames. Boxing movie in jail. You can't fucking beat that. It's awesome. Play It to the Bone with Woody Harrelson and Antonio Banderas. They're best friends who have to box each other for money. It's really a cool story. Semi-Pro is really one of my top 5 funniest movies of all time, and it's a basketball movie. And the
Not
way
a
back,
sport, not a sport, but if you like the game of pool, watch Pool Hall Junkies.
well, junkies, no, I call pool a sport, man. Yeah, so like The Color of Money, I would call a sports movie in some kind of blanket way. So
Go watch Pool Hall Junkies. Very explicit, but go watch Pool Hall Junkies.
Benny's gonna hit us up about the fantasy basketball league tomorrow. So yeah,
Aunt Ma's still around. Hell yeah.
Ant Mass is here, still around. He
My
literally
man.
said still around.
My
Yeah,
man.
he didn't crash commenting. Oh yeah, Dodgeball. I guess Dodgeball's a sports movie, right?
Yeah.
I'm not letting
Basket,
this. Oh, Judah
basket,
Tribe is in here. He missed our whole Caleb Williams love fest, man. Uh,
basketball. That's one.
basketball.
Judah
Yeah,
Tribe. We've been waiting to talk to you, man.
we wanted you here earlier, Judah. We're about to sign off, man. He's still saying put in Bajent. Unfortunately, we're about to give up Bajent and Davis for Crosby. I think there's it's what the Bears are going to trade Nate Davis and Tyson Bajent for Max Crosby and
And
what
like
2 first-round
2
draft
first
picks.
round picks. Yeah. I mean, you're like asking them to take contracts at that juncture. But
MS, I'm glad you got where you were going safe, my man.
the Bajan trade to Oakland has their
Legs.
legacy has kind of piqued my interest because like
It has
that's Luke
arms.
that's Luke Getsy's guy, man. That's Luke Getsy's guy, Tyson Bajan. And their quarterbacks aren't playing very well over there.
Yeah, but I don't think adding Tyson Bajent to the mix makes any sense for them either. And then what does it do for the fucking Bears? Because now who's your backup quarterback? Are you just going to promote Austin
Reed.
Austin Reed? Like it's not happening, guys. That's a pipe dream. Should be our guy. We're do you want to? We're done, right? We were signing off. We're getting out of here, right? You want to
Yeah.
get out of here?
I'm curious why the 2 accounts, Tribe? Are you like consistently
Banned.
blocked or this?
Because he says things like start Tyson Bajent over Caleb
It's
Williams who just threw 4 touchdowns.
it's got a fucking alias, but he makes it the same name.
Oh, Judah. Listen, man.
Reed's not at the games.
Well, I mean,
Practice
Reed
squad.
is on the. He's on the sideline. I've seen him. Yeah. He's just not dressed. He's just not dressed. He's in street clothes.
I thought practice squad players didn't go to the games.
I mean, he's on the sideline. I've seen him over there, but like, I don't think that means anything. That Austin Reed is next to Caleb Williams and Tyson Bajent isn't.
I don't think you trade a player with the caliber of Max Crosby for the potential that Tyson Bagent can get you through a season.
The thought of it is just crazy to me. Is this actually a thing? Is he just coming up with this? You said you've seen this?
No, I've seen Max Crosby to the Bears. I've never seen Tyson Bagent in a trade rumor before, but I think
Okay.
if somebody needed him, Vegas is probably the team that would look there first because that is Getsy's baby, man. Getsy is the reason that guy's in Chicago.
Hold on. Judah was in here. Wasn't Judah in here saying that Caleb couldn't make a deep throw? Wasn't that him?
Judah called the Panthers score like 28-10 if Bajan played, and the Bears lose if Caleb plays, and the Bears won like 36 to 10. Like
10.
I don't
36 to
remember.
10.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, has Caleb not done anything that you're willing to? I'm legitimately curious about this, Judah. Has Caleb not done anything in these last 2 games to make you think you could be wrong? Has he? Has he not? Like, is there anything that he's doing good? What would you say Caleb Williams is doing well, Judah? Give me something. I want to see it, please. I know you type fast. Get it in there.
it's gonna be like painting his fingernails or something.
And then at that point, we'll know we can end the conversation because we can't actually go anywhere with it. I'll always go against Caleb. He sucks. That's his response. That's what
What is it?
he said.
Wait, hold on a
That's
sec.
not an answer to the
Judah,
question.
Judah, if you're even a slightly intelligent individual, I'm going to give you the
NFL
benefit of the
football
doubt.
purveyor
Yeah,
of
I'm
any
going to give you the
sort.
benefit of the doubt. I'll always go against Caleb. He said, what if he doesn't suck? What if he's like really good and he's winning football games and Super Bowls for the Chicago Bears? Are you a Bears fan or just a Caleb hater? Like, do you root for the
He says
Bears?
Bajan would have hit
Rod?
DJ Moore on that pass. The one thing Caleb didn't do well in that game is the thing that Bajan could have done.
Are
Bajan
you
can't throw a deep ball, Judah. Bajan cannot throw a deep ball. Get out of here. Bajan can't throw it from the 40-yard line to the end zone. Yeah,
No, that's why they
have you
keep.
seen him do it?
That's why they keep Nathan Peterman on speed dial.
Give me a break,
Just in
dude.
case
Come
they
on,
need us. Just in case they need a Hail Mary. Yeah.
dude. Could
All right,
Bajan
man.
have made
I think that's it, right? Yeah.
I'm sorry. I wanted this earlier, so like I just wanted to get in. Judah, we're glad you joined us, and we'll always conversate with you, bro. But you are wrong. You're just wrong. I'll turn the tide when he goes against teams that don't have a 29. Well, that's not happening anytime soon. He's about to play some really bad pass defenses for the next 2 weeks. So you're going to keep eating your words. Part of these conversations, Judah, is admitting when you're wrong. So hopefully when we get to that point, because obviously you're not at it now, you'll at least be able to admit you were wrong at some point. I
See,
hope. It's never going to happen. Like Caleb's going to be celebrating a Super Bowl, like you were saying, and we're going to be doing our Super Bowl post game show, and Judah's going to be in here like Bajan would have won 2 Super Bowls in that game.
yeah.
That's
The
what's going to happen.
tribe, a stubborn individual. I feel like I don't think we're ever going to do the tribe over.
Yeah, man, you're wrong, bro. I'm sorry you're wrong, but yeah, I was right about Justin too, and I'll be right about Caleb too. Ghost, I was right about Justin. I'm always right. All right, Brandon, you've been awesome tonight, man. Really appreciate the segment you brought to the table. We already shouted out everybody in the chat. Judah, thanks for joining us. You joined us late. Go back and recheck it out and hit the like button, please. We love all of y'all for joining us. We got no Bears this Sunday. Spend a little time with the family if you can. Have some fun. Watch casually.
Watch the Lions beat the Vikings.
Bet the Lions. Bet the Lions on the money line. The Lions are going to beat the shit out of the Vikings. It's not. They don't need that. You don't need the points. Just bet the Lions. Bet the Chargers against the Cardinals on Monday too. Chargers are going to beat the Cardinals handily. They're a 1.5
Justin,
point.
say it. They're going to do what?
What?
They're going to beat.
They're going to beat the brakes off the Cardinals.
Yeah.
That's our new tradition. We'll just chop that up and play it at the end of every show. Fuck yeah!
Right. Instead of the Austin Booker thing, yeah.
Thanks, Mass. Thanks, Vinny. Oh, you're going Vikes over Lions, Mass. I think you're going to be sorely disappointed. Thanks, Judah. Everybody have a good night. But seriously, bet the Lions, bet the Chargers.
Thanks, Mass. Thanks, Judah Tribe. Always, no matter what you bring, man, it's a blast to chat it out for sure. Thanks, Vinny. Man, I really appreciate it. I'll be there for that basketball league. Bruce, breaking news, Bruce. We appreciate you. Well, we had a lot of people here today.
Dibs, Soda Pete.
Dibs, my man. Yeah, Moody, yeah. Soda Pete. Yeah, thanks everybody, guys.
Turd Ferguson. We had Turd Ferguson, the one and only.
We already did this once, but there's never enough admiration. You know what I mean? Thank you guys for watching us.
We'll be back on Thursday. Yeah, for sure. And we'll be back on Thursday next week at our regular time for the bare minimum to preview the Bears Commanders game. We got the House Hall hangover this Monday.
Next bare minimum is going to be fun, guys. We're going to dive.
MS, what do I get? MS says he's going Vikes over Lions, and I do 10 push-ups on air if he's right. What do I get though, MS? Will you give me money? Or because like you can send me some money, you got Zelle, right?
Money doesn't seem fair, bro.
Dude, if I'm gonna do push-ups on air, that's worth at least $5.
It's gonna be hard. You're gonna have to get on like your desk there.
Yeah. That's I don't know if I'll fit. So we'll have to figure that out, Aunt Mass. I'm not sure. No cash bets. All right, Aunt Mass. If I win, you have to chat directly with the Ghost of Judah tribe for 5 minutes straight.
You have to refer to Dustin in the chat as Lord Dustin for an entire episode.
I like that, Lord Dustin.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Aunt Mass, you got it. Knock it down to 5 push-ups, and you got to refer to me as Lord Dustin. And then we got. I have no doubts about this. The Lions are going to kill the Vikings. All right,
Yeah,
man.
it's a bad matchup. Yeah.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right. Thanks, guys.
2 hours and
Dustin.
15 minutes. Wow. This was fun, man. I really feel like I could go for another hour because this has been a great conversation. So
It's too
appreciate
bad
you
we're
for
going 5 weeks more often. Not.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Bear down.
All right. Later, guys.